Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Heartbreak and questions. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. As the search continues for the missing after devastating floods in Texas, now blamed for at least 89 deaths.
Search teams are still pouring through bit by bit near the Guadalupe River in Kerr County, Texas, where even professionals had a difficult time looking for stranded people during the river's rage. Kerrville, Texas, City Manager Dalton Rice.
We had first responders that were getting swept away, actually responding to the first areas of rainfall. That's how quick it happened. First responders who have experience, who are Swiftwater qualified.
Rain and flood risks continue, slowing down the searches. Local utilities report widespread power outages and infrastructure damage with no estimate for restoration.
Fox's Eben Brown, a White House briefing expected at this hour, facing questions on the flood response and tariffs. President Trump just posting letters to the South Korean and Japanese leaders announcing 25% tariffs to begin August 1st as time runs out for trade deals. There's a new lawsuit over one part of the president's sweeping tax cut and spending plan.
Planned Parenthood filing a complaint in federal court in Boston against the Trump administration, saying nearly 200 Planned Parenthood centers in 24 states are at risk of closures. 90% of them in states where abortions are still legal. That following the passage of the so-called Big Beautiful Bill, signed into law last week by the president, that strips Medicaid reimbursements for abortions, which Planned Parenthood calls unconstitutional.
Fox's Jeff Manasso, a federal judge just ruling that Kilmar Abrego Garcia's deportation challenge can continue in court, even though he's now back in the U.S. after the Trump administration returned him from El Salvador to face criminal charges, accusing him of human smuggling, which he denies. The administration has blamed a clerical error for sending him to his native country, where an immigration judge had previously ruled he could not be sent. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Kind of a run-of-the-mill summertime weather pattern over the next couple of days. Nothing too extreme. Plenty of sunshine this afternoon. Maybe a spot storm. You probably noticed temperatures slightly cooler than yesterday. 89 for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy. 80s this evening. 72 for the low. Tuesday, sunny. Maybe a spot storm. 92. A couple of scattered thunderstorms around Wednesday, and 90. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show Live, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gsLHonorFlight.org. And for HVAC services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Very much. We've been in touch with Governor Abbott and very close to Governor Abbott and everybody in Texas. Kristi Noem has, as you know, been there and will continue to be there. And we're working very close with representatives from Texas, and it's a horrible thing that took place. Absolutely horrible. So we say God bless all of the people that have gone through so much, and God bless the state of Texas. It's an incredible place.
President Trump speaking alongside, I think Marine One maybe there, the Air Force One on tarmac yesterday. That was posted, and the tragedy in Texas is more than I can bear to talk about, but it doesn't even scratch the surface of what those individuals in Kerr County, Texas are experiencing. At this point, the latest update, Kerr County is from Fox News. Kerr County Sheriff said Monday that 75 bodies, including 48 adults and 27 children, have been recovered as of 8:30 a.m. this morning in Kerr County in central Texas. They're using assets from local, state, and national first responders. Hundreds of trained first responders are working every aspect of this emergency. Of this, 15 adults and 9 children are pending identification. At present, there are 10 campers from Camp Mystic unaccounted for and 1 counselor. We continue to offer our condolences to those affected. Reuniting the families remains our top priority here in this operation. The Fox News also has multiple reports about the details of what actually took place. And there are many questions surfacing right now about leading into this moment and, preparation, alerts, warnings. And I think that all of those questions are important because in the midst of the recovery effort, this same area and areas surrounding it have been undergoing additional thunderstorm warnings. Weather has continued to move into that area, and people need to know how to be prepared. But it's an unimaginable tragedy. It feels biblical in the sense of the way these floodwaters came in and took over and washed away this area. From the reports that I watched the press conference earlier this morning, they refer to the flood of 1987, I believe it was. They've experienced this before, but it's just absolutely horrific. And there are stories that are coming out of this that are to be championed. There are things that have taken place in the midst of this great tragedy that are incredibly heroic. We have those people who have participated in those heroic recoveries that have lived to tell about it. And sadly, there are people who have participated in these heroic recoveries that were able to save lives, but unable to save their own. And, I'm not even going to say thoughts and prayers. I'm just going to say prayers. Prayers for these families in Texas, because that is the only thing that can be offered to them is a peace that passes understanding, and we can't offer that, but God can. Let's listen to Lawrence Jones.
We got on scene. We were kind of battling with my crew on the 6553. We were kind of battling some pretty bad weather for maybe 5 to 6 hours before we were able to get on scene. Once we got on scene, we were boots on the ground. We made the decision to leave me there. We figured we'd be able to hoist more people out on our helicopter with me not on it, and then I'd be able to help out the scene at Camp Mystic a little bit better. Just a lot of people looking very scared, very tired, cold, missing loved ones, probably terrified, honestly. And I was just trying to be a voice of calm and triage these people and get them to safety as soon as we could.
That's a Coast Guard officer. They rescued 165 people in his first mission out there. I mean, these are incredible stories, but in the midst of what is still considered a rescue effort in Texas. It is not a recovery effort at this point. At least as of last report, within the 11 a.m. hour here, it is still considered a rescue effort. Prayers. It's a kind of an important moment when you spend the weekend celebrating the 4th of July. You celebrate your freedom that you have here in this country. It's a glorious thing to champion, to celebrate, to acknowledge. And, in the midst of that great joy that we share as a country, there's this just great despair that we're sharing as a country right now as we wrap ourselves around those families in Texas and that community in Texas. It's quite a spectrum of emotions to experience. Also, we in the midst of all of that, you have and I kind of appreciated just the perspective that was levied for us this weekend. While President Trump is signing the big beautiful bill, which is an enormous political accomplishment from him, whether you agree with the substance of said bill, whether you loved it, you hated it, you hated loving it, whatever, wherever you were on this. Politically speaking, watching Donald Trump's continued political victories it's incredible. And he says, I want to sign that thing on the 4th of July. And he got to sign it on the 4th of July. He got done what he said he wanted to get done, and it was his pressure that was put on Congress that made that happen. A B-2 bomber flying over some of the photographs that have come out. I mean, Donald Trump has some of the most iconic American photographs, and that's probably going to happen with every additional president with technology and our ability to photograph things. Did you see the picture of Donald Trump with his arms extended out to the side with the red fireworks all up in the air?
That's the one I was thinking.
He looks like Iron Man when he's like, I think the weapon in the first Iron Man is called Jericho, and he's like, he's selling weapons. And he's like, gentlemen, I give you Jericho. And he puts his arms out like this, and then it's just like kaboom. But this is fireworks on the 4th of July after signing the big, beautiful bill. And it's just amazing. There's the video of President Trump and Melania Trump standing up there on the South Lawn. I don't know. I was there.
Oh, you should know.
I was there. Not there this weekend, but when the Eagles were there. not the like bird kind.
Yeah, the football kind.
Yeah, the football kind. Standing there and they're watching fireworks and the YMCA starts playing and they're just loving each other. They're just existing in happiness in the White House on the 4th of July after signing the big, beautiful bill. Pinnacle stuff for a politician, for an individual politician and everybody who wrapped themselves around them to get us to the place where we are succeeding. So it's like peak happiness. And then at the same time in Texas, peak or, bottomless despair. And in the middle of all of it, folks, Elon Musk is stomping his feet saying, I'm going to start my own party. And I'm like, read the room.
Mm-hmm.
Read the room, bud. The Republican Party has never won more. I don't know what you lost out on this. Because you've been an important, integral part of all of that peak happiness of succeeding what the American people, in every opportunity to say so, said, we choose this. We want this. And anybody who's like, surprised at what Donald Trump is doing. The only surprise about what Donald Trump is doing is that he's doing so much of it so quickly. It's not the what, it's the when. It's the efficacy of his ability to shepherd something like the big, beautiful bill, which, again, we've gone over and over and over again. I know y'all hate big bills. I hate them, too. But you have to, if you want to get that much stuff done at once, you had to do it this way because reconciliation, according to our conversation with Congressman Darren LaHood last week, you get one chance to do reconciliation a year?
I don't know because Johnson was out there saying this weekend that they want to do another one by the end of the year.
I wonder, is it like semi-annual, like the Victoria's Secret sale? I don't know what it is.
Hopefully.
It's
I mean,
the
that's
Mike Johnson
good
secret.
Comparison.
Mike Johnson has a secret. I bet he does. Anyway, it's Elon Musk. I feel like if Albert Einstein had social media access, he'd probably act the same way. I think this guy thinks on an entirely different plane, on an entirely different level. The one thing that I think we know about Elon Musk is that he's super emotional.
Yeah.
He's super emotional. Guys, when you're raising children and you know your kid is capable of making good decisions, and actually they make more good decisions, like their batting average on good decisions is higher than the average teenager. That doesn't mean that they get a hit every time they go up to bat. They get a little more practice, become a veteran good decision maker, batting average goes up a little bit. But you understand that when people come in, the younger you are, the more wrapped up in emotion you are. The more emotion drives whatever your decision is. And it's not just like how you choose to position yourself on a specific issue. It's also when you choose to talk about a specific issue, how you choose to talk about a specific issue. All of these things, when you're younger, are much more regulated by emotion. And as you mature, they begin to be more regulated by common sense. That's why it's more fun being a kid. Your highs are higher. Sometimes your lows are lower. We know Elon Musk is emotional. I'm not here to say that Elon Musk has good ideas or bad ideas. I think he's got some of both. I think he could continue to be an asset to President Trump. But what I have a feeling, it's just a hunch, that President Trump wasn't going to manage the country, manage the United States of America, and the emotional state of Elon Musk. And it's too much. I really feel like Donald Trump is as rock steady as it gets. He knows what he wants. He has a amazing capacity to stay focused on the ultimate goal. He will use emotions to get to the ultimate goal. He will choose to opt out of emotions if that's what gets you to the ultimate goal. It's all on the table, but he is, in my opinion, and I know you folks on the left completely disagree with it, but we certainly see this from opposite sides. He is able to manifest and control emotion for the outcome. And the people who are only driven on emotion, as soon as he pulls that string and evokes that emotion out of somebody, then he gets them on tilt. And when you're on tilt, you make bad decisions. And I don't think that Elon Musk, of course he doesn't have to. He's a genius with amazing products that he has been able to create, things that he's been able to, like, he manifests things. When you're a genius level like that, I would assume that it'd be very simple to just dip your toe and then maybe your whole foot into a godlike complex. You just think because you're gifted with this ability that you somehow or another have a higher value than others. And I think Donald Trump might be the only person on the face of the planet who can tell Elon Musk, no. Now, it made sense to me to make the YouTube live chat poll today, would you support the America Party? But I'm not ready to give this thing a whole lot of oxygen. Over the weekend, Elon Musk decides to throw this wrench into the system. It's July of 2025. The midterms are over a year away. I am not going to blow oxygen onto this little, spark of a fire when literally in a week, Elon Musk might be apologizing for it on X. Which literally happened when I was in Hawaii, and it's like, Elon Musk and Trump are fighting. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And I'm like, nope, going to have a pina colada by the pool. I'll deal with it later. The morning of my return, Elon Musk's like, I regret some of the things I said. I went too far. Everybody calm down. We have things to celebrate. We have amazing things to look at in less than 6 months of this president in his first terms. Amazing things to celebrate. But more importantly, we need to fall to our knees and pray for those people in Texas right now. We do not need to be fighting with each other on X about the America Party. We are the America Party. Donald Trump has done that for this country. It's succeeding. And that is a conversation right now. I mean, right now we're at the point where you can just stick your two fingers out, I think, and snuff it. That's my perspective. We'll talk about it later. I'll get you guys' opinions on that a little bit later in the show. Meanwhile, in great celebration of our 4th of July, St. Louis went absolutely flipping bonkers this weekend in the city. Did you see these videos?
No.
Do you know about this?
I don't think I do.
Mitch McCoy is going to be with us when we come back. He's the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Director of Public Affairs and Information. The kids are not all right. It was a wild, wild weekend here in St. Louis. And as is evidenced by Ryan and many of you, you might not have known about it because you stay away from it. Let's make St. Louis great again. What do you say? We need to talk to Mitch McCoy when we come back to find out what went down in St. Louis. And is the St. Louis Police Department doing anything about it? Mitch McCoy will tell us when we come back.
I can't get enough, one and only kind of love. One and only kind
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
kind of love. Love, let me feel you near. Love, lift me over fear. Love, bring the remedy.
Love filled the void in me.
Infinite-vitality.com. Comfortable and calm and collected when you walk out of Infinite Vitality with the information they can provide you. And this is where it's key. Ladies, I want you to understand that a lot of the bleh that you feel as you age is kind of a natural degradation of the way your body functions. Certainly myself, having 4 kids, it really does a toll on your body. Your body is kind of, at least this is the way I used to think of it, what's left after carrying and birthing 4 children. But that's a really terrible way to look at the body that God gave you and what you can still be doing with it with full energy in your 40s and 50s and 60s and on. I want you to understand that Infinite Vitality can flip the switch on how you view how you go through life. To get rid of that brain fog, I can say wholeheartedly, the hormone replacement therapy has absolutely helped me with that. My sleep patterns are normal now, and I've been doing this for about a month. Drastic change in my life because of the hormone replacement therapy that is guided by a blood draw that shows me actual information about me. It's not just to come in, oh, you're 40, we'll give you this. That's not it at all. It's about you. And it's about getting your vitality back. And the first thing you need to do is look in the mirror and say something nice to yourself for once and take care of you. I promise it will be worth it. Mention my name, you get $50 off hormone replacement therapy or weight loss services in Glen Carbon at Infinite Vitality. Infinite-vitality.com.
Let's just face it, right? Your home should work for you, not against you. Hi, it's Kim, and if you've been dreaming of a new kitchen, bathroom, or a finished basement, now's the time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design. They're St. Louis's trusted experts in turning houses into dream homes. Just imagine this, a spa-like bathroom, maybe a chef-inspired kitchen, or how about a cozy basement perfect for some movie nights? Their team handles everything from design to installation so you can just sit back and enjoy the process. Visit lakesidearty.com today to start your dream renovation.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon with news for listeners who, like me, want to learn more about Bitcoin. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club is coming to St. Louis later this summer. The Bitcoin Ben Crypto Clubs teach members what Bitcoin is, how to buy it, how to safely store it, and how to avoid scams. And we'll connect with others like us who want to learn more about crypto. St. Louis will be the 7th club nationwide and Ben's hometown. If you want to know more about Bitcoin, you need to know Bitcoin Ben. Learn more at bitcoinben.io. That's bitcoinben.io.
Speeding while driving gives you less time to react. Another car could turn out in front of you. A pedestrian could be walking their dog. Follow the speed limit to keep them safe. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Every year between the illegal fireworks and firearms that are brought into the city, St. Louis police are usually kept very busy on patrol, and downtown is usually the hotspot for arrests. This morning, our newsroom has learned almost 90 people were arrested over the 4th of July holiday weekend, and most concerning, more than half of those people were minors. Still, considering that, the St. Louis police chief is saying that this year wasn't as bad as years past.
Well, we got that going for ourselves here. That is a report from, I believe, KSDK on what took place this weekend. I saw some of the videos, guys. It looked wild. It was like a rave that was super dangerous looking. How's the city of St. Louis, how's the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department handling it? We're going to talk to Mitch McCoy now, who is the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Director of Public Affairs and Information. Mitch, we appreciate your time today. Thanks for coming on with us.
Of course. Appreciate the invite. Thank you.
Yeah. So give us a little bit of the rundown in your perspective there of what took place this weekend. And I really want to key in on the juveniles that were participating.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciate you taking the time and being able to be a part of the conversation. And I think that this really started last year, right? I mean, we all know what happened in downtown with these fireworks wars and youth coming to the downtown area.
Fireworks wars. Like,
yeah,
for people who aren't, because I saw all of this on X, Mitch. So there are a lot of listeners right now. They don't really run around on Twitter or X. When you say fireworks wars, what does that look like?
This is somebody holding a firework and shooting it at another person or a vehicle or property, or shooting them off while setting off other fireworks in the street or during a war. I mean, it's like an exchange of gunfire between a couple of people, but instead of guns, they're using fireworks. So this happened last year. We've seen the videos, and we were there. We recognized that was a problem. It needed to be addressed. The conversation started last year. How do we approach this? How do we address it? And how do we send a very, very strong statement that what happened last year is not going to be repeated? And we certainly, I think, and I think the police department thinks, I think the officers think, that we started to set that tone of how 4th of July is going to be handled when it comes to downtown St. Louis. And you said it, we heard it earlier, nearly 90 people were arrested, and more than 50 of them were juveniles.
So when a juvenile gets arrested in the city of St. Louis for, what do they get? What is the charge? Like, what are they being arrested for?
Well, you just asked like a very, very complicated question under very different circumstances. So let's just take the most serious thing. Somebody has a firearm or a juvenile has committed a serious felony. Officers would then take them to juvenile court. At that point, it's up to juvenile court on what they do with that juvenile. There were several that we did take to juvenile custody because they had firearms. The youngest person, 13 years old,
13,
gun in his waistband, that we ended up, our undercover detectives spotted. They thought something was suspicious, and he was taken to juvenile custody. But on cases where somebody is discharging fireworks, which was most of the offenses, in most cases, juvenile courts will not hold that child because it's not a felony. It is a city citation. It is not a state felony charge. So one of the issues we saw last year was we didn't really have a way of getting them off the street other than waiting for their parents. And that held our officers up last year. That was not happening this year. We took them into custody and we brought them to what I have labeled as a reunification center because that's what it is. We're reuniting them with their parents, and we made the parents come down and pick them up. And when they went to pick them up, we gave the parents the citations.
So you cited the parents, not the children.
Correct. We cited the parents in addition to the normal charges that we would have been citing the kids for. We also cited the parents for contributing to the delinquency of a minor. So
I commend that.
The parents got the citations, and that's why it's a complicated question. When you ask what happens to the kids, it really depends on what they did, and if the courts will take them. But that was the problem we ran into last year, was we couldn't actually get them off the streets because it didn't reach the level of juvenile courts being able to hold them. So we created our own, and we made sure we had every officer that we can working, and we ended up bringing them to the reunification center, and it removed bad actors from the situation.
Perfect.
Mitch, this is Ryan. Are we talking about locals here? I mean, are these all kids that are from St. Louis, or are people coming from around the area to come to this spot because they know, that's where the action's at?
Another really good question. So we did our best to track. Obviously, some of the juveniles were not very happy with us, so they didn't have much to say. Based off some of the data we got, it's a mix. We had the one of the childs from Florissant was down here, and then I'm aware of a juvenile who we had a hard time reaching their parents, and we ended up at 5 a.m. having to bring that child home to Jennings.
So, okay, we're speaking with Mitch McCoy. He's the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Director of Public Affairs and Information. It is great to hear that the parents are being held responsible for these children, because they should have been responsible for those kids before they went and decided to participate in this type of behavior. What kind of we can set this? You've really addressed that very well, and I'm happy to hear that the parents are included in that reprimand. What about the non-children, non-juveniles that were reprimanded this weekend or apprehended?
Yeah, so some of them were cited for discharging fireworks. We had an individual who struck one of our officers with their vehicle while they were attempting to illegally park. Obviously we had a massive police presence downtown, and we were trying to direct somebody. They got very agitated with our officer when we told him he couldn't park there. And after striking our officer, he took off, and the large police presence, we quickly spotted that vehicle, took him into custody. We shared that photo of him on social media. And, so there's some felony charges in there. There's city citations in there. Charges range from resisting arrest. Anybody that ran from our officers, they were charged with resisting, and the discharging of fireworks, the felony fleeing, assault on law enforcement, and of course, contributing to the delinquency of a minor for those that were picking up their parents. So adults were charged when they were picking up their child.
We're speaking with Mitch McCoy of the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department, that he's the Director of Public Affairs and Information. Last kind of subject here to address with you is, first and foremost, from us here on the show, and I'll speak on behalf of the station. I know nobody who I work with would have a problem with this, but an infinite amount of gratitude for the men and women who put the badge on and go work to protect a city. A lot of the things that you're talking about right now, I know that myself, I'm thinking, why would any police officer, why would any person want to go into that area? Because for a lot of us on the outside looking in, it seems futile. And they still do it, and they risk their lives. And we've watched the situation here in this city be very futile, in that a lot of arrests are made, and then the people who are criminals get let go. And it's like, why would you risk your life for an arrest that's never going to be prosecuted? Can you talk to me about the morale of these police officers, the law enforcement serving right now, how they feel working in this city, in this area?
Well, I think in the midst of this, it was them getting the job done. They knew that there was a mission. They knew that they had support from brass. They had support from Chief Tracy. Chief Tracy was on the ground the entire weekend up until 5 a.m. with all of them. And Chief Tracy joined officers on that front line, pushing people and people that were in downtown St. Louis out. If you had no business being there, you're being told to leave. And that is encouraging for a police officer or a sergeant thinking, okay, we're not just out here on our own. Every level of commander is out here with us, and they are part of it, along with a major who was in a foot pursuit during on Friday night. So I think that is encouraging. But what you just said is the tone that is being felt across the community, I think. I mean, when you look at what people are saying on social media, the feedback that we're getting from residents, we had somebody stop us on the corner of 7th and Market last night doing a media briefing, just a citizen who lives downtown stopping saying thank you. Wow. We want this. And that is the most encouraging feeling that a police officer can get. But the officers are also seeing the stuff on social media in the comments saying that, thank gosh, they are doing what they have to do. And that goes a long way. And let's be honest, that goes a long way with helping us recruit officers too. When people are supporting police, and when people are seeing what the department will back, we're backing them doing this. And that is encouraging for any police officer in this region to say, you know what, maybe it's time to go over to SLMPD. Maybe, they have brass. The brass is supporting them. The brass is on the front line with them. And look at what their department's doing, but most importantly, look at how the community is supporting them.
Mitch, were any law enforcement injured or hurt this weekend?
We had a few. We the one of our officers that was chasing down kids with fireworks had a firework thrown at him, and he was not seriously injured, thank gosh. And we ended up, the officer that was struck by the car, he was not injured. He stayed at his post. That's the most inspiring thing. Even though he got hit with a car, he stayed there. He didn't give up that line. And that is incredible to see. And then we did have a commander injured that was trying to effect an arrest. But no serious injuries. And we're here on the line right now. We're doing the job, and the officers are doing what they got to do.
Well, Mitch, the city of St. Louis will be saved by the actions of these law enforcement and officers. We're so grateful for your time today to give us a little bit of the roundup of what took place this weekend. We thank them for their efforts. We thank you for your voice. We hope you'll come back.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you, and thanks for your time.
Take care. Bye-bye. Mitch McCoy, St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department of Public Affairs, Director of Public Affairs and Information. At Mitchell McCoy on X. I would follow him there. That's how I saw his statement on what was going on this weekend and asked him to come on the show. So we appreciate his voice. Quick break here. The YouTube live chat poll. Did Epstein kill himself and have no client list? Oh, yeah, that also was news breaking over the weekend. The news from the Trump investigative department's Justice Department is that he did kill himself and he had no client list. You believe that? YouTube live chat poll. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Air Comfort Service. You find them online at aircomfortservice.com. It is hot. Gosh, this has been a hot one. And if your air conditioner isn't working, you could be actually in danger. Think about your loved ones right now that might need to be checked on. Make sure their AC units are working properly. If the time comes where you need to replace your air conditioner, the worst thing you can do is try to find the cheapest possible deal out there and then pay for something that sucks. You need great people and you need great opportunity to acquire great products. And that's at Air Comfort Service. Let me talk to you a little bit real quick here about their 0% financing option. They offer 0% financing for up to 72 months, which means you can work with the top quality HVAC company in the St. Louis area and get great products served into your put into your home so that you can, in fact, be in your comfort zone. All you got to do is call them at 314-513-0091. Talk to them about 0% financing and ask them about their utility rebates and federal tax credits. 314-513-0091, aircomfortservice.com.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 39 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. And you know, your home is your sanctuary. You need to take the first step to peace of mind with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from the #1 Generac generator dealer in the country, Generator Supercenter. We learned the hard way here in St. Louis during the tornado recently that power can be knocked out. But even outside of that, what if the power grid fails and it's 100 degrees here in St. Louis? You don't want to be that person. Get with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis today. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com. Tell them that we sent you along.
1 in 4 people surveyed by Bankrate.com say they're literally losing sleep because of worries that they may have not saved enough to retire. If you're ready to get serious about planning for your financial future, you could start by listening to the All Financial Hour with host Steve All of the All Financial Group.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different. If you want assistance, we can also help you at that point.
Tune in to the All Financial Hour with Steve All, Saturday mornings at 6, right here on 97.1 FM Talk.
You are listening to the Annie Fry Show. Continue to listen all day and all week, actually, for free chances or chances to win free tickets to see Collective Soul on July 17th. Your first chance will be at some point today when you hear a Collective Soul song. The YouTube live chat poll today is, did Epstein kill himself and have no client list? There are a variety of options, but of course, this is generating a lot of discussion, so you can be a part of that on the Annie Fry YouTube page. It is 12:40. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules. This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Wiggins!
Oh! Wiggins!
All right, a variety of stories for your Monday roundup, of course. Catching up on all the page 2 to page 6, page 8, maybe, stories from the weekend that you might have missed. The first one, just because I think it's fun. Scammed Brit. This is a British resident.
This should just be a whole segment about news in Britain this weekend.
Things that happened overseas.
Well, we were celebrating.
That you missed because you were celebrating America. Scammed Brit thought Jennifer Aniston was in love with him and needed help paying her Apple bill. Paul Davis, 43, told The Sun that he paid out non-refundable Apple gift cards after being sent messages he believed were from Jennifer Aniston. Blowing him kisses,
Jennifer
holding up a
Aniston's
sign.
just like, guys, I need help with my bill.
This guy, this just really nice guy, sent her a bunch of about $270 worth of Apple gift cards and then shared it with the internet. And I got to admit, the images look real. So we're there now with AI.
Except for the fact that Jennifer Aniston doesn't need help paying her Apple bill.
Well, that's a separate fact. The images did look pretty real. She was holding up signs that said "I love you" to this guy, blowing him kisses, and he just assumed, well, he just has got to be the real Jennifer Aniston, and sent her a whole bunch of money through gift cards. So there you go for your first story for the Monday Roundup. This one, there you go. Thank you. Charlie Kirk is urging GOP hopeful Curtis Leewa. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, he used to be on 97.1.
What? Mm-hmm. Please share this with me. I did not know this.
He had a show.
Curtis Leewa?
Yes.
When was this?
I don't know. I started working here in February of 2009. He had an evening show, I think it was.
Oh, my gosh.
He's kind of wild. I'm pretty sure, I think that we had him come to St. Louis.
Like a kill meat event?
Similar. No, but he used to, like, what's his group called? The Angels? The something?
Blue Angels?
Yeah.
That's them? He's the guy?
No, they're like vigilantes. Do you know about Curtis Leewa?
No, I know nothing about him.
Curtis Leewa, he wears a red beret.
Yes.
And he
Guardian Angels.
Guardian Angels. Thank you. Yes. They basically serve as people who, like, if there's unrest, all of a sudden these people in red berets will show up and, like, calm the situation down. They're kind of like the Avengers, only not.
Oh, the beret makes more sense now because I saw him wearing it and I thought, well, it's a bold fashion choice.
It's not just fashion. It's kind of an identification thing because how many people in St. Louis? I would take the Guardian Angels here in St. Louis if they would be helpful. I think that they've been, gosh, this is from the outside looking in. I think their presence, because you can have a presence like that and it can be inflammatory. But, I mean, that would have been before, like, Occupy Wall Street, maybe, that. I remember, like, all of that unrest that was taking place and, like, protesting became trendy.
Yes.
They would be around and they would be keeping the peace. And the question
like
is
the Hells
always.
Angels.
Well.
Wow. Except a little bit nicer.
I don't know. I just know that they are. Usually people refer to them as vigilantes in a non-complimentary way. Mm-hmm. But when you have people running your city who are like, think about what happened on the subway when people are acting crazy, trying to kill people, or they're strung out, or they're making threats. I mean, they're creating a situation in a city that is causing citizens to feel like they need to step in. Now, is Curtis Leewa in this just for peace and justice? I think he might be in it a little bit for Curtis Leewa. Only in the mayor's race. Get the hell out of the race. Oh, my gosh.
Well, you and Charlie Kirk, because Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA founder and conservative firebrand, says the Democratic Socialist Zoran Mamdani is stoppable from winning the New York City mayoral race, but only if the opposition coalesces around a strong alternative against the Democratic nominee. Are you okay with, I know this isn't Annie, you're okay, but is it okay with you if we drop the Republican and coalesce around Eric Adams? Is that the move?
That's the only move.
It seems like that's
it's
a
the only
no-brainer.
move. Not to mention the fact that Eric Adams is a moderate in New York City. He's the closest to a Republican that city is ever going to get, and he does care about law and order. And, I mean, everybody in the country needs to sit back, pay attention, but sit back and watch what New York City decides to do with this race. Mm-hmm. This is a wild, wild race.
Do you view this as a barometer on, like, Democrat politics in general?
No, we already know what it is. The leading candidate in New York City is a socialist who is working to eliminate capitalism and billionaires because this, like, think of the God complex that goes here. Mamdani thinks that billionaires shouldn't exist, so he's just going to try to make it so that they can't. Says who? And how many people in New York City who are billionaires are employing how many people in New York City? So you want to eliminate that? I mean, it's a pipe dream. And like folks, listen, whenever you hear someone talk about democratic socialism, it's just socialism. It's not democratic socialism. It's just socialism. I think the only question here is not whether democratic socialism is just socialism, but whether or not the Democratic Party itself, when they only call themselves Democrats, is also socialism in 2025. The direction of the Democratic Party today is socialistic. And the most honest among them are the ones who call themselves democratic socialists because they're just willing to put the word socialist out there when the rest of them are like, shh. Regardless, the barometer, I mean, we don't need to find out what happens here. We can maybe find out the barometer of New York City once this election takes place. But the Democratic Party, we already know where they are. Kamala Harris was a socialist. Mm-hmm. There's nothing about her that's moderate.
No.
Like, think of all of the areas you could be. Name a single moderate policy that she had.
She wanted to build the wall right at the end.
Yeah.
Right at the end.
When it was slipping away and she's like, nah.
Just right there.
Yeah. I don't know that I mean, call me controversial. I don't know that she would have followed through with that promise. But she did say it. And I was glad to see also over the weekend Scott Jennings' last point on this topic, and then we'll move on, is Scott Jennings, along with the CNN panel, were arguing about Mamdani and him being a socialist or a communist. And at least the panel was not favorable to the word communist. That's my happy takeaway from that discussion, is that they still are like, we don't want to be called communists, though. Okay, good. Let's take the good where we can get it.
The good is that they don't want to be called communists?
That was my positive takeaway.
There's your barometer.
That's a stretch.
Ozzy Osbourne brings the curtain down as the hometown goes wild for Black Sabbath. Heavy metal rocker Ozzy Osbourne was ending his stellar career with Black Sabbath on Saturday, rattling through the band's most iconic songs. A lot of it I think he was just sitting in a chair for when he was singing. I don't think he's doing real well. Big Black Sabbath fan, Annie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Only because in my YouTube rabbit hole of things that YouTube's like, you'd like to watch this. Just yesterday, I watched Ozzy Osbourne, Sharon Osbourne, Kelly Osbourne, and the son.
Jack.
Poor kid. Nobody knows his name except for Brad. Huge fan. Sit there, and the YouTube video was Osbourne family speaks about Donald Trump. And I was like, okay, I kind of curious to see what this is. 5-minute clip, time was right. So I watched it, and even Kelly Osbourne's just like, it pains me to say this, but I have never had anything but an incredibly positive experience with Donald Trump. And then Ozzy Osbourne's sitting there, and I really wanted to play this clip, but as you can imagine, the F words were plentiful in this podcast recording. But Ozzy is sitting there, and he starts talking. He's like, something in the air in the Trump. And it's like, you're like leaning towards the TV to try to figure out what he says. There are captions. And he said that he was like a really kind and nice guy. And he goes, I was really surprised that he knew who I was. That's what Ozzy Osbourne said.
Really?
Yes. And the whole family's like, you're the most iconic rocker on the planet. And he's like, I don't know. Yeah, he 2-time Hall of Fame in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Also, his show was just enormous.
And his look, like he has the image. If you want to talk about, I mean, it's probably not a stretch to say that Donald Trump and Ozzy Osbourne have a lot in common.
One of them bites the heads off of bats. I don't think the other does.
They both have interesting hair.
Interesting hair, understand image, understand branding, understand family, understand marketing. Because if you listen, hasn't Ozzy Osbourne said things about being a Christian?
That sounds vaguely familiar.
Who's the other one? Who's the lead singer of Kiss?
Oh, you're thinking of Alice Cooper.
Alice Cooper.
Alice Cooper, I know. I know that he has separately.
Okay.
But I feel like, I don't know. I can't say that for sure. But I feel like I've come across things where the Osbourne family has talked about faith.
I remember them saying some things about God in one of our random stories at 2 o'clock.
But if it's not the real God, then you're the God. But anyway, go ahead.
But it was interesting stuff. All right. Next story is
Ozzy reportedly thought the bat was fake. He found out it was real after biting it.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. Man, talk about a bad day at the office.
It's an unpleasant discovery.
Single women are ditching wearing makeup on first dates, and experts are encouraging it.
Remember when I asked you guys the question if a man or a woman should have to disclose like a major cosmetic surgery? Like, say you were born and like the family heirloom is the schnoz. It's the big nose. Or maybe it's gigantic. I don't know. Can you get your ears smaller or something like that? I don't know.
Ryan, how did it go?
My ears used to be the size of elephant ears, and then I went into media.
But if you the story was surrounding a woman who had a nose job, and she looks like a completely different person. But the genetics are behind the nose you were born with. Should you have to disclose?
Ooh.
When you're dating somebody, should you have to be like, I just, we're getting a little serious here. I just want you to know that my face looked poor enough in my judgment that I had to change it.
I think so. I don't think that's a first date, but I do think that if you're getting serious, you're talking about taking the next step.
I don't think you say it, but I think you make photos available. Like, you can't erase
that
who
was
you were.
You?
Man, who's that?
You that?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, Would you break up with a woman because she used to have a bad nose if you loved her?
I don't think so, but
I love how you said I don't think so.
But it would be good to know.
Poor
Look,
children.
I want to know just because that's something that would be hidden, and I don't want anything to be hidden.
Yeah. I don't think that you have to say it, but it's kind of like on you to do a little research. And if those photos exist, I mean, if you're going to get a dramatic change to your nose, it's not like people aren't going to notice. So I don't know why you'd be like super secretive about it. But you can't erase who you were. That's who you are.
Yeah, if you are living in a society or you feel like you're in an area, right, or with a person that you're fearful that would cause them to move on from you,
flag.
that's a serious red flag.
Red flag. But on a smaller note, going to a first date with no makeup these days is wonk. I mean, I've told my oldest daughter when it comes to makeup people shouldn't look at you and think about your makeup. That's my advice to my daughter. I don't give advice to other people about the makeup they wear. You can wear whatever you want, but you can change the way you look significantly with makeup. But I don't know.
There are videos now that actually scare me a little bit.
Yeah.
Because of the way somebody looks without makeup versus how good they are at doing it. And they look like a model. And then they're like, hey, watch me take it all off. And you can see, it's not AI. You can see them doing it. And wow, the incredible things that you can do after you were addicted to meth. One girl I saw, she's like, had no teeth and stuff.
Yeah. But at the same time, I will add that if you are using makeup to transform yourself into another person, that I don't think that's a first date thing necessarily, but it's you need to do something, like go out and do something athletic where you're like, if you were sweating, like your face would peel off slowly, just like sink down on your face. Because what guys should do, you need to take them swimming.
Take them swimming. That's a good idea. Hey, the whip's back. We had to reboot the system. All right, last story. This isn't even news. I just wanted to bring it up because I saw it over the weekend and I looked it up and I'm like, oh, this is a real news story, but it was last year that it was reported. Americans in Paris are ready to rumble with pickpocketers. And I saw somebody reference
bringing
this
a little
story
America into the Paris,
saying exactly that. Like, man, I love that one of the stories I saw within the last year was that British and Parisian authorities had to tell Americans, please don't beat up our pickpockets.
Why? We love them?
I don't know why they would have to tell them. It seems like you'd want them to come in and bruise them up.
Are you telling me another country has problems with immigrants?
They have problems with pickpockets. And the story came from the Paris Olympics, but it's such a cool story.
That's funny. All right, stick around. Tell us, did Epstein kill himself and have no client list? What do you think? Annie Fry YouTube channel. We'll be right back.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats. Plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Land Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
The heat's really been extreme last week or so. I have a wife that's going through change of life, and she woke me up at 3 a.m. and said there's something wrong with the air conditioner. I checked the thermostat, and it's set at 66, and it is saying 66. Like we set it every single night. I said, okay, how do you feel? She goes, okay, well, as long as it's 66. And then within 2 minutes, all the covers are back on her, and she says she is freezing. I said, honey, the air conditioner isn't broke. Your thermostat is broke. So if you're living that way, my advice is this. I'm not the brightest bulb in the box, but here's what I do. I keep my laughter inside. It is real what they're feeling. You don't need to call me. You can say you called me, but you don't need to call me. Save your money. This is Bart Inman. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. God bless.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
A message from the White House to Texas. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. After at least 89 people were killed in catastrophic flash flooding, including more than 20 children, 10 campers and a counselor are among the missing.
May God bless the great people of Texas, especially the parents who have lost their children. President Trump loves you. We are praying for you, and he will be traveling to see you later this week.
Spokeswoman Caroline Levitt just a short time ago also pushing back on claims that government efficiency cuts may have impacted flood warnings.
The National Weather Service office in New Braunfels, which delivers forecasts for Austin, San Antonio, and the surrounding areas, had extra staff on duty during the storms, despite claims of the contrary.
In Texas, search and rescue efforts continue.
From Hunt all the way to Comal County in a straight line distance is over 100 kilometers. This is a massive field that is happening. And again, this is unprecedented flood events.
Dalton Rice, the Kerrville city manager, says welfare checks also continue in part because of widespread power outages, with crews unable to access power lines yet in some areas. The White House also just defending the president's latest move on trade, notifying multiple countries of new tariff rates to kick in August 1st as a 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs ends this Wednesday.
This is decades of bad trade policy that has led to a deficit that is ravaging our country, that is ravaging our middle class, and the president is taking a very deliberate approach to correcting this wrong of many decades of many past presidents.
Two of the new letters sent by President Trump announced 25% tariff rates for Japan and South Korea, but Levitt telling reporters the administration is close on some trade deals. In the meantime, though, there is a sell-off on Wall Street. The Dow's been down more than 500 points. Right now, it's down 493. The S&P and the Nasdaq also dropping close to 1%. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation weather.
Kind of a run-of-the-mill summertime weather pattern over the next couple of days. Nothing too extreme. Plenty of sunshine this afternoon, maybe a spot storm. You probably noticed temperatures slightly cooler than yesterday. 89 for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy, 80s this evening. 72 for the low. Tuesday, sunny, maybe a spot storm, 92. A couple of scattered thunderstorms around Wednesday, and 90. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Time to schedule your air conditioner service. Get not just your AC, but your entire HVAC system checked for $19 a month with the preferred partner plan, and stay cool this summer. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie
Look,
Fry Show.
We inherited a mess, and I'm not sure where all these deficit hawks were when Team Biden was blowing out the deficit. So last year was 6.7% of GDP, which was the highest it had been when we weren't in a recession, weren't at war. And as your previous guest said, we don't have a tax collection problem. We have a spending problem, and we are trying to get that under control. We are also trying to accelerate growth because changing the growth trajectory upward solves a lot of the deficit problems.
Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, talking about we don't have a tax problem, we have a spending problem, and we are now in a position where those Trump tax cuts, the ones we've been hearing about from Steve Moore for so long, have officially been made permanent in the signing of the big, beautiful bill. Steve Moore, welcome back to the show, Distinguished Fellow in Economics at the Heritage Foundation. How excited are you to know that those Trump tax cuts were made permanent last weekend?
Hi, Annie. And this is a great bill. It is, if you're a conservative like I am and like you are, it has so many policy triumphs and victories, things that we've worked for 30 years, not just extending the Trump tax cuts, which was absolutely essential, or else we would have faced a $4 trillion tax increase next year. And every one of your listeners would have, if you're at the head of a household, you'd be paying $2,000 more taxes next year. But there's all sorts of things. It defunds Planned Parenthood. It allows more money for school choice, so parents can choose good schools for their kids. It has expanded health savings accounts. It expands empowerment zones for low-income areas so that we can bring development to inner cities. It gets rid of. Remember the electric vehicle mandate?
Mm-hmm.
That Biden, we get rid of that. Remember the student loan, the student loan bailouts? We get rid of those. I mean, I could go on and on. This is a great bill. It's not a perfect bill, but it's a very good bill. We're going to bring the deficit down by growing the economy, by getting more people back into jobs and working. And if you notice, the stock market has been really good. It's not so good today because some of the tariff news, but we got low inflation, low unemployment, a lot of hiring going on. It's just a beautiful picture.
So, I think about how massive, like the size of this thing and the importance. I've spoke with so many legislators in the White House as well. They're like, you have to do this through the reconciliation process. So there's like technical in the weeds stuff that made this bill need to be so big so they could get so much done with that simple majority in the Senate. I want to know, now that the tax cuts are made permanent, and you're talking about all these other things in this bill that are great, what is your next crusade? Where is the next focus for the Trump administration that you want to see them continue to invest in the Trump economic miracle?
Well, can't I just savor the victory for a moment? I mean,
no, I know you can't. I know you're already working on something.
On the next crusade, but you're right. I mean, we're always looking forward. Look, we want to get these trade deals done, and Trump announced some new tariffs today. That is a kind of shot at the bow of Korea and Japan to come to the table, and I think they will, and we'll get better trade deals. I'd like to see some real spending cuts. I think you would too. Now we turn to the budget. Everybody's, oh my God, this is increasing the deficit. Okay. Let's see if these Democrats are willing to stand up and cut some of the bloat out of the budget. We have a $7 trillion budget right now. Pre-COVID was $5 trillion. All we have to do is go back to pre-COVID spending, and we balance the budget, for goodness sakes. So it's not that hard, but you need some spending discipline. I'm not just blaming the Democrats, by the way. The Republicans love to spend money we don't have, too. But, when you've got an institution that's losing $2 trillion, you've got to cut back on your expenditures.
Do you think that this Congress has the stomach to do it?
Probably not, to be honest with you. I mean, look, the Republicans have very slim majorities, and the Democrats. I want to mention something, Annie, because it depresses me, frankly, and I'm in a good mood. But not one single Democrat, not one Democrat in the entire House and the entire Senate. That's out of something like 260 Democrats that are in Washington and Congress. Every single one of them voted against this bill. And in other words, they voted to allow taxes to go up by $4 trillion next year. I mean, you would only do that if you intentionally wanted to hurt the economy and hurt the American workers and families. I don't get the logic of it. It used to be, I go back to the Reagan years, as you know. Reagan did 2 historic tax cuts. He got a lot of Democrats to vote for those bills. It wasn't such a politically poisoned atmosphere where you just vote against something because it's Donald Trump.
Yeah, completely. When we scratch our heads and we're trying to think, what does the Democrat Party even stand for? I'm going to point you, we're speaking with Steve Moore right now, to New York City, where you have a Democratic socialist, which we'll just on this show refer to as a socialist, running as the lead Democrat candidate for mayor. He hates capitalism. He says he has many critiques of it. He says billionaires shouldn't exist. If New York City elects this guy, what's going to happen?
Well, as you know, we've talked about this many times. I hail from Chicago, which I think is one of the great cities, and I love Chicago. I grew up in Wrigley Field. I saw the Cubs and Cardinals play all the time.
Hey, we're not talking about that this weekend. We're not talking about that here this weekend. That was not good. Not good at all.
But, but anyway, so I think Chicago's a world-class city, and you've seen with 3 or 4 years now of this socialist mayor how it's destroyed the city, and you can just see it every time you go. It's heartbreaking. And now New York's going to do the same thing. They need a remember Rudy Giuliani when he came in, he fixed New York, not through socialism, but by free market capitalism and fighting the crime, getting businesses, cutting taxes, things like that. This guy, he wants the government to run the grocery stores. He wants to basically raise New York is already the highest tax place in North America, and he wants to raise the taxes again. Yeah. So I pray that this guy doesn't win. And by the way, I saw him over the weekend give a speech. I have to say he's very charismatic, a very charming guy. But boy, he's dangerous because he has every wrong idea. I think the New York people, the voters, will be smart enough not to elect him, but it's going to be close.
Well, last question before we let you go. We always appreciate your time. Steve Moore speaking with us right now. You brought up the socialistic mayor in Chicago. Governor J.B. Pritzker, probably presidential hopeful in the next go-around, has announced that he's going to likely seek a 3rd term, which kind of seems king-like to me, but, it is what it is. You think that the people of Illinois have gotten tired of J.B. Pritzker and would maybe look to another candidate should there be a good one?
Well, I haven't lived there in a while. I'm going to visit some family next weekend. But look, the problem for Illinois is that, there was just a new study that came out by United Van Lines, which looks at, where people moving to or from. And they've got the data because that's where people, rent the trucks when they're moving. And the 3 states that have had the most outbound traffic, in other words, where people are moving from, not moving to, are New Jersey, New York, and Illinois. So the problem for Illinois is the people who are moving are the successful people, the people who are Republican voters. So I don't see how anybody could beat Pritzker because there aren't any Republicans left in Illinois. They've all gone to Florida and Texas and Tennessee.
There's a few across the river in Mississippi, Steve. Across the Mississippi River. We're sitting over there waving.
There you go.
Last question.
A lot of them moved to Missouri.
If you were advising a candidate, likely on the Republican side, would have to be a moderate on a lot of issues, but maybe a fiscally sound, common sense person, is there any one particular thing in the state of Illinois you would advise them economically to do to get the state to do a 180 and get back in the right direction?
Oh, well, I would advise this to any governor, and I've advised a lot of governors to do it. And that is, you really want to put some rocket fuel in your economy, you got to do 2 things. One, eliminate your income tax. the states, there are 9 states that have no income tax. They're booming, absolutely booming. And the second thing you have to do is you have to be a right-to-work state. You have to, businesses will not locate in states where you're forced unionism. And I think Missouri is a right-to-work state. I don't remember whether you are or not.
It's still a fight here in the state of Missouri. Not quite yet.
Well, you should do it because when you do it, and by the way, it's not anti-union. It's just saying every worker should have the right to join the union or not join the union and shouldn't be imposed by government. So those are the 2 things that would really turn around Illinois. And new leadership would help too.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, I mean, I don't get it. Pritzker is what's he going to do? He wants to run for president.
Yeah.
Is he going to run on his record? I'm going to make America look like Illinois. Gee, that's a good line.
Well, let me invite you after you stay with family in Chicago next week and to stay for a while, like 4 or 5 years, and I'll vote for you, Steve Moore, for governor. How's that sound?
Well, I'd have to regain residence, but no, it's heartbreaking. I mean, we had a lot of good politicians in Illinois back in the day, but this is what happens when progressives take over a place. They ruin it. Look what they've done to San Francisco. Look what they've done to New York. Look what they're doing to so many of our great cities are being destroyed by progressive governance. We need more Rudy Giuliani's.
Yeah, I completely agree. Thank you so much for the time, Steve Moore. Congratulations. Okay. Enjoy the moment, and then we'll get back to work. Take care. Bye-bye. Steve Moore, the Distinguished Fellow in Economics at Heritage Foundation. He's a Trump economic advisor, and his book, The Trump Economic Miracle and the Plan to Unleash Prosperity Again, you could watch. It's probably like a playbook for what's taking place right now. He certainly was at the forefront of establishing the Trump tax cuts originally, and working hard to get them made permanent. He's got to feel pretty excited about that, being a part of the genesis of them in the first term, waiting this long, knowing that this deadline was going to come and go, and should Donald Trump not have won the election, of course, that would be toast for sure. Imagine if Kamala would have, imagine what would have happened.
Yeah, that's the thing that I have to keep reminding myself is American politics is a binary choice. It's always going to be one or the other.
You talking to Elon?
I am. Dear Elon.
Is he listening?
Do not do what you're about to do. But the difference between these administrations is so vast. And the fact that there is such a pushback on even spending what they've spent, which is a lot less than Democrats were spending, I'm encouraged by that. Because there is, like he said at the beginning of that interview, there is a lot in this bill that is very good that conservatives, Republicans, libertarians have been working on for 30 years. And they finally got it in there. And we do have to celebrate those things. We're
going to take a break here. And in about 15 minutes from right now, we're going to get an update from Eben Brown, Fox News Radio national correspondent from Texas. In Texas, I should say, on the just absolutely traumatic flooding. The death toll is climbing. It's nearing 90 if it hasn't hit there already. Children, God, Lord have mercy. We'll just leave it there. We'll talk about the poll when we come back. Don't go away.
I'm all out of faith. This is how I feel. I'm cold and I am shamed, lying naked on the floor.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Stewart's American Mortgage, Bagel Loan, 314-324-4440. That's all you need to know. Oh, wait, and one more thing. When you use a bagel loan to get a new mortgage or to get a mortgage refinance, you pay no dollars. Zero, zilch, none, no dollars in closing costs. This is potentially thousands of dollars. I can't imagine it wouldn't be. Back in your pocket that you don't have to spend. I always think I bought 2 houses in my lifetime, and you go through the whole process, you negotiate, you get some considerations, maybe like a window allowance or flooring allowance or something. And then you get to the end and it's like, oh, and you owe this much for your closing costs. It's like, it's record scratch. Not with the bagel loan. You don't have to pay it. They don't exist. He doesn't roll them into the loan. There aren't any closing costs. But you got to go to Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage to get the bagel loan. The bagel loan exists nowhere else. Here's the number to call him directly. And I'm talking about the phone on Stewie's desk or in Stewie's pocket right now. 314-324-4440. You can text him at 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
If you love the shooting sports and you want to beat the heat this summer, go to the Range St. Louis West, the largest combined indoor range retail store and training center in the area. Mark Cox here. You're going to love the Range. They're out at 14803 Manchester Road in Baldwin, across from Velasquez Park. They offer training for new owners. They offer training for advanced concealed conceal carry, you name it, they can take care of it, and they got the greatest selection in town. Check them out today online, TheRangeSTL.com.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholt of Kaufman Townsley. We've won the trust of thousands of clients who are victims of careless drivers. We have the team, the talent, and the tenacity to get you the money you deserve. Call 314-500-5000. That's 314-500-5000.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
Speeding while driving gives you less time to react. Another car could turn out in front of you. A pedestrian could be walking their dog. Follow the speed limit to keep them safe. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
You remember when I told you that Molly, like little Molly, you'd say Michael Jackson and she'd go, hee hee.
Yeah.
She was like 2.
She didn't do
Maybe
that
even
anymore?
younger. I don't know. I could still train her to do cool stuff like that.
You could have your older kids do it too. I could do it.
They're probably listening right now, but they're just not as cute. It's cute when they're little too. Hey, kids, get your hands off your hips. They're going, oh. Molly could get away with it, though.
When you come home today, they're all going to do it. You're going to be like, oh.
All the time. That is the better version of that song. Alien Ant Farm came out with their version of Annie, Are You Okay? When I was maybe a junior in high school. That was pleasant.
Was it?
Yeah. No. Uh-uh.
I would have had fun with it if it was my name. But you act like it was a burden.
Oh. How many times can you be asked if you're okay in a day and be chill about it? Especially when
8, 9
individual people ask you that. They ask you like 13 times in a row.
Well, because they're saying the song. They're saying, Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie?
No, there's an extra, are you okay?
Are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? And you're like, oh, yeah, that's super funny. Like the next day. Is it new? Is it new every morning? Like, is it a reset that you could take it a couple more times each day?
His mercies are new every morning. That was not okay every morning. No, absolutely
Joy
not.
comes in the morning.
And it was also a little ragier than Michael Jackson's is creepy, kind of.
Yeah, it is.
There's a little bit of darkness to that. There's a little bit of rage in Alien Ant Farm.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
It's a band.
I know it, but what is it?
It's ants, but they have a ton of
an immigration problem.
Probing.
This is a development. I told you that we had the dumpster delivered to the house last week. Big time in my life is dumpster week. And usually we were going every other week, but we had some big furniture that we needed to get rid of. And I'm like, get the dumpster here. We'll put it all in there and we'll purge everything that we can possibly, like anything that we put and is sitting where we put it when the dumpster got there last, that needs to go. Get it out.
Like the counters.
No, we've used those.
Oh, okay. So it's not just things that have
It's
not
like
moved.
Completely bare house. So they're going through the storage closet right now downstairs in my house, and my husband just sent me a picture, and I have to share it here. I'm going to share it with the audience on the YouTube. But what do you see there?
Oh, wow.
Let's see here. Oh, yeah. That's the old Beckett.
My no. Did you say June 2025 or 20?
Oh,
1990.
I can't see it. I can't see on the picture.
Is it like February 1995 or something like that? I don't think it says on the picture.
It does. It's just so small. I don't know that we could read it.
U.S. adopt 295 February. I think it's February 1995.
Babe, I think you're right.
He'll message me. I'm so excited about that. I told you I had it, and I remember that teal color that was on top of it. I was huge into baseball cards, probably starting in about 1991, and then through junior high, I definitely continued to collect them. I think I still paid attention to them in high school, but not as much. But boy, I have a lot of them. I was excited to see that.
I do too.
Do you know where yours are?
Oh yeah. And they're all still in binders, the good ones.
Yeah.
Well, the good ones.
Did you
look
organize
back, you're
them?
like, wow, Leaf, 1992, Rafael Palmeiro.
Amen to
Wonder
that.
what that's worth today.
You have them in the home run hitting section. I organized mine by team, alphabetically by team, American League and National League, and then alphabetically in the team by last name.
In the binders?
Yes.
Oh, you put them all in binders because I put all the commons just in stacks.
I put all of them in binders, and if I had duplicates, I wouldn't put duplicates in the binder, but then it kind of got out of hand. It's
Yeah.
a lot of binders.
All of my stacks, the problem is they're all in bins in the basement now, and the rubber bands are getting so old that they'll start to snap. And so, yeah, I had them in all teams, and I had the most Cardinals, so the Cardinals had like a couple stacks. But they're starting to fall apart, and now they're just becoming a big mass of baseball cards, and I did all that work.
Those were the days. Simple
Those were the
days.
days, man.
The YouTube live chat poll for today. You go to youtube.com/@AnnieFry. You can also go to AnnieFryShow.com, and our live video is up at AnnieFryShow.com. You can do that every day, and if you click on that video, you'll get taken to YouTube, and you can watch and see the chat. The chat has to be on YouTube. That's just the way it works. But we put a poll up there every day in the live chat of the live video, and today's is, did Epstein kill himself and have no client list? You've got three options. The first one is yes. So that's the report that came out over the weekend, that Epstein did not have a client list. Or I don't know specifically if it were that Epstein, that they don't have a client list, that a client list doesn't exist, but that doesn't mean he wouldn't have it. The Justice Department doesn't have it. But there was a lot of reason to think that, the Trump administration really does have something here, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. And this was part of the fever pitch of things going on right at the beginning of the Trump administration. You know, there was 8,000 things to be paying attention to during that time. And if you remember, you'd have people like Pam Bondi coming out and talking about it. Alina Habba came out and talked about it.
But in this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking that there were so many individuals that were hidden and kept secret and not been held accountable. Let's talk about the reverse. I believe in accountability. So you have to now go through your process. Now, I won't say they're guilty until they go through their time in court. But again, now it's time for accountability. We have seen for so many years, Pierce, in this country, many investigations, subpoenas, testimonies in Congress, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a general frustration with accountability. We take it halfway. We don't take it home.
So accountability. We take it halfway, but we don't take it home. Now the Trump administration is saying he killed himself. You saw that video of Dan Bongino and Kash Patel sitting there, and they're like, the evidence says he killed himself.
Yeah. Who is it with, Maria Bartiromo or somebody?
And I think so. And when they're sitting there, I cannot tell, and I'm usually good at these things, but I cannot tell if they've got someone holding a gun to their head off screen and they're saying what they have to say, or if they're just really incredibly disappointed to report that that's the case.
I think it's the latter.
I actually think, to that point, Ryan, that if this is in fact true, that he killed himself, there's no client list, Piers Morgan says, is it going to be shocking? And Alina Habba says, I don't know how it can't be. The most shocking thing is what is happening right now.
Yeah.
This is an entire 180, but we've been breadcrumbed, and we've talked about conspiracy theories prior to the election. Now, like, what are the conspiracy theories you just really want to know the absolute truth on? Do you remember having that conversation? Mm-hmm. And in the midst of having that conversation, we're saying, this is my point at least. I want the whole truth, and I think you were with me, Ryan. I want the whole truth, even if it's disappointing. Even if the big, scary monster conspiracy theory is like not. That there is a Occam's razor, obvious explanation to what happened and what we've been made to believe, that there's no evidence that supports it, and it's just a big drama-inducing story. It would take a lot of bravery for the Trump administration to come out here and say this and just be like, womp womp, there is nothing there. And because it would be very easy to string along the investigation, to keep those fires burning. Super easy to do that. Because everybody has already kind of concluded what they believe about this. They're just waiting for the powers that be to admit it.
I don't know that they're saying for sure that the investigation is over, though. They are saying that they have video, and they released the video of nobody going into Epstein's cell. And so they're saying we don't have any evidence that he didn't kill himself. So that's one thing. The client list is another, but that's a specific list. That doesn't mean they don't still have video.
Well, that brings me to the YouTube poll question options, because the answer that you have to vote on are obviously yes. But then we also have no, that the Trump administration is playing chess here with what they're releasing, or the Trump administration is messing up. We've got a really quick break here. We've got to get to the most important story to talk about today, and that's that tragic flooding situation in Texas and Kirk County. We're going to get the latest from Eben Brown in just a minute. Don't go away.
It was Sunday, but a black day.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
STS-Armory.com. Shopping in Pontoon Beach, Illinois, at their brand new facility. It's a beautiful facility. These people are incredibly helpful at getting to the bottom of whatever your pursuit is. If you're looking to take a class, they're the best instructors around. I took my conceal and carry renewal class from Katie and Jesse. Felt incredibly educated. It was a great use of my time. Of course, I needed to do that to comply with Illinois state law to carry my firearm, but I really felt like I should have done that class even if I didn't need to do the renewal. They are experts, and they are going to help walk you through the process to make sure you're compliant in the state of Illinois to carry that firearm, to operate one, and also that you prioritize responsibility in having that, carrying that, storing it at home to make sure that you are doing so in a way that is safe and provides you the accountability that you need. For your firearm needs, your self-defense, your preparation plans, all of that, you need to go to STS Armory and start that conversation with them online at sts-armory.com.
I'm fixing to tell you something that the insurance industry does not want you to ever hear. Bullies often delay and deny. I see them sitting on premiums paid and making money and dragging it out for as long as they can. Many times, we're forced to take them to court. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Their high-paid lobbyists are on a mission to make sure that at trial, jurors are not allowed to learn that the at-fault party has insurance, and in some cases, lots of it. I can think of no case in all my years where there was no insurance for the at-fault party. So let's fight back. It's all these bullies understand. Tell everybody you know the truth. If you've been injured in a car crash or hurt at a store or business, visit forthepeople.com. We're here 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
One of the little girls out of school, thankfully, praise the Lord, was found. She floated on a mattress for 3 hours yesterday morning, and we just got the text notice that she survived, and we've located her and that she's safe and sound. So we're hoping for stories like that, but obviously we're deeply concerned about the remaining little girls that we've not found.
So that is Representative Chip Roy in Texas. He's, of course, a representative in Texas, and the numbers keep climbing. This tragedy it's hard to pay attention to, but it is important that we do. Our prayers are going up unceasingly. Let's get to the latest with Eben Brown, Fox News Radio national correspondent. Eben, thank you for being here with this difficult story to report on, but important. What can you tell us?
Certainly. What I can tell you is that we now believe at least 89 people have died. We expect that number to increase, sadly, as the searches continue. Statistically, that will happen. By the grace of God, it won't. By the grace of God, they'll find people alive. And that's what we really do hope for. But in the meantime, they have to proceed accordingly and do their job and try to find as many people as they can, living or dead. And this has been described as a 100 or 500-year flood event, that there's no historical record of something this severe happening in this area. Yes, there have been other floods of the Guadalupe River. There have been deadly floods of the Guadalupe River in this area. but nothing to the extent like this where it rose 26, 27 feet with in about 45 minutes in the overnight hours, which created all sorts of havoc. Even the professional rescuers, people who are Swiftwater certified, were getting washed away in their vehicles as they tried to go to conduct these rescues. So it's a very dangerous situation, and hopefully we don't ever see a repeat of something like this again. It does bring back some images or feelings of what happened last year in Asheville, North Carolina, and surrounding towns. Pretty much a different situation, but a similar outcome, something absolutely horrific.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, just to clarify on your earlier comments there, this is still a rescue operation. It hasn't been made to a recovery yet.
Correct. They are still in search and rescue mode. They believe that they have the chance of finding people alive, and so they will do that until they statistically can't, expect to find people living anymore. But there are people who are looking for their family members, and very specifically children. One of the things that makes this so horrific is that the Guadalupe River area in the hill country of Texas is home to dozens of sleepaway camps. And one of them that you've probably heard about so far today, this Camp Mystic, a Christian girls camp, very famous camp in Texas, been around for about 100 years. And it's been owned by the same family for many generations. The owner of it died while trying to rescue his campers. And so this just goes to show how horrific this has been. And there are still missing people from the camp, children and staff. So when you think of sleepaway camp in the summer, as someone who's sleepaway camp alum myself,
sure,
you think of good memories. You get away from your parents, you get out to the country, you're disconnected, you have a different set of friends than you do during the year maybe, and you have all these kinds of adventures. And this is not, this obviously isn't what you sign up for, and this is just the worst thing that could ever, I don't even think people could imagine something like this. Obviously they didn't.
No, it's horrific. And as somebody myself as well, went to and have had a family involved here in our area, in Pure Marquette area, going to camp, church camp for a week in the summer. In a lot of cases, your year kind of revolved around it. There was summer leading up to camp, and then there were the memories after it. Is there any obvious negligence that on behalf of the camp or the community in not preparing? You mentioned it, 100-year, 500-year flood.
Yeah, I don't know how you would have prepared for something like this. There's going to be a time for the evaluations, right? Right now, today, there's a lot of Monday morning or I guess afternoon quarterbacking. We should do that next Monday. I think right now, this Monday today is to pray and to hope and to offer support for those who are looking for a way to help out. We at Fox have set up a donation link. You can give with confidence. And I'll give you that link in just a moment as I pull it up here in my email.
Sure.
Give me 1 second.
And while you're talking about it, we're speaking with, you're looking forward, Eben Brown with us right now, Fox News Radio national correspondent. You can follow him at Fox Eben Brown, EBEN, to stay updated and connected there. The stories that are coming out. There are some absolutely heroic stories that are coming out that involve in so many life saves and some lives given to save lives. The more that comes out, the more burdensome and heavy the story is. But bringing attention to it like you were doing, Eben, allows people to know how to help, how to contribute, even from afar here in St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah, and that link is go.fox/TX Flood Relief, and it will direct you to a local charity in Kerr County, Texas, Kerrville, and they are the ones on the ground doing a lot of good work, and so you can take advantage of that. If you have other entities you want to donate to, Salvation Army, very much involved in what's going on right now. So obviously do your own work on that, but that's one you can give to. It's go.fox/TX Flood Relief. And that's really what everyone else can do at this point. I think it's a reminder that no matter how prepared you are based on what the history is, something could come along that you're just not prepared for, that you wouldn't be expected to be prepared for. And in the case of the Texas Hill Country, where cell service can be spotty, we do have to ask some questions. Did someone have a weather radio, that $15 thing you can buy at the
Sure.
grocery store that looks like it's a relic of the 1970s.
A radio.
A radio, exactly. And it plugs into the wall, and it takes maybe a AA battery for power backup. And here's something that the young kids might not know. It doesn't require a monthly subscription. It just exists. So, and what it'll do is it's tuned into you. You can set it to your local NOAA weather radio station, which is a special radio band for NOAA weather radio. And if there's a catastrophe headed your way that's weather related, they will send out alerts, and they will make that thing give an annoying loud beep that you just will shake you in the middle of the night. And that's what gets you out of bed to run for cover. Here in Florida, we rely on it because we do have tornado risks, and that thing will go off, and we got to get everyone up and get into the laundry room.
Yes, amen to that.
The risk is over. Yeah,
certainly here we experience that with tornadoes here in the Midwest, and it's a very, as you mentioned, a very affordable thing for everybody. If we're taking lessons from this instance, that is a very simple thing to do this afternoon to protect ourselves. I wanted to ask you too, obviously we're talking about the devastation of loss of life right now, but what about the flood as it came through? I'm thinking about, you mentioned Florida. We see the hurricane aftermath, the houses, the homes that are lost, the businesses that are lost. Is the devastation from a infrastructure, is that as catastrophic as the loss of life?
There are some comparables. Again, this had to do with flash flooding of a swelling river as opposed to something like wind destruction. But yes, it washed homes away off foundations. It did significant damage to power infrastructure. They don't know when those lights will come back on. The power utility has said there is just so much damage. It's going to take a while to survey everything and get those repairs made to the infrastructure before they can even get repairs made to the home and business hookups. So this will take a while. Hopefully, it won't take that much of a while. But again, if there's a home washed off its foundation, there's nothing to connect the power to. Right. So that's part of the whole compounding scenario with really any disasters. I mean, we could say the same thing about an earthquake in that regard. I mean, it's going to just disrupt the power utility. So as we get more news on this, we'll learn more. And of course, the declarations for emergencies have been made that frees up money at the state and federal level to just be spent without having to go through, legislative processes where someone writes a bill and they have to vote on it and they attach pork and all that other stuff. So this just gets money spent right away to bring in supplies and tools and whatever else, big backhoes to get things cleaned up. If they have to bring them in from 50 miles away, that money pays for the drivers, for the transporters, for the fuel, for the whatever. So it just gets done without having to hem and haw over it. That hopefully gets things a little stable sooner rather than later. But stability won't come for a while after a disaster like this. There will be people who will be put out. They will be living probably in hotels until they can get into trailers, until they can work things out with their insurance and maybe get their homes rebuilt. Or if they decide to, just sell the land for whatever they can get and go move somewhere else because it's too difficult. That's what happens. I mean, we still have vast blocks of cities along the Mississippi Gulf Coast that 20-something years after Katrina, it's 20 years now after Katrina, are still empty. Yeah. Because people just said, I can't deal with this. This isn't happening fast enough. I've been living elsewhere for all this time. My kids are in new schools. They've made new friends. We have new jobs. Why go back at this point? And that's how you end up with ghost towns. So I don't know if you'll have that type of scenario fully. I think things are a bit more localized, but you'll have some of that.
Eben Brown speaking with us right now. It's going to be important to just every once in a while we have a tragedy like this to stay with it, to continue to help these people. The website that you gave earlier, go.fox/TX flood relief. We've posted it here on our live broadcast for people to donate a comfortable, safe place where you can feel confident in sending your dollars. I just want to bring one last question to you, and it's part of, we're broadcasting live, of course, over the radio on that free to listen to radio, but also on YouTube, and we have a live chat going right now, and there's discussion about insignificant staffing, or not insignificant, inefficient staffing at the National Weather Service, the possibility that there might have not been enough people or attention or funding to the alert systems that could have done their job potentially better. I'm just wondering if there's any actual hard evidence or if that's part of the questions that will be asked later.
No. And from what we know, the National Weather Service did its job. You know, here's the thing. They could send out alerts till the cows come home. But if you're not listening on a NOAA weather radio that you bought for $15 at the grocery store, how are you going to know? If your phone is not picking up a cell signal, or you've turned off the alerts in the middle of the night because you don't want to be disturbed, how will you know? If and I don't mean to pull the curtain back too far here, but if your local radio station destaffs on a holiday weekend, how will they know?
Yeah. Those EAS alerts, I think they still go out.
Yeah, well, they might, but we've had scenarios. Sure. There was one big foul up 20-something years ago in North Dakota where there was a catastrophe. The EAS went out, but it didn't go out locally on the broadcast radio station because they never installed the equipment, sitting in boxes. And so, you know, there are many places where a system like this could fail if not everyone is doing what they're supposed to do. Now, I'm not suggesting anyone in the local media there did or didn't or did something wrong. I'm not. They could have done everything right and everything possible. We don't know yet. But there is, I think, a very easy way to point fingers at the National Weather Service or to point fingers at budget cuts at the National Weather Service and say, see? And the reality is A, we don't know, B, unlikely, and C, it may not have been their fault. There could have been other points along this cooperative chain that didn't do something, or something may have unexpectedly failed. What if there is a local radio station that got knocked off the air by the flood? I don't know. Yeah. But, you know, transmitters, especially AM radio, usually located in swampy wetlands. So, you know, there's
a lot of behind the curtain going on right now. I love it.
Yeah, you know, well, it works better for AM radio. So, you know, we don't know, and you know, hopefully, no one did anything wrong or failed. You know, hopefully, just you know, hopefully we can just resolve to say this was an awful, once-in-a-lifetime thing that no one could see coming, that no one could really deal with in the heat of the moment. And it's an awful tragedy, and we don't know why it happens, but we have to thank God that 850 people were rescued by water rescuers in the middle of this. My goodness, that's a miracle.
Yes. Keep getting the word out there. Eben Brown, we're grateful for you to be able to bring the facts to
One
this.
last thing,
sure.
Annie, one last thing. My most favorite prophet of all time, the late Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers. He would always tell a story about when bad things would happen when he was a child and what his mother would tell him. His mother would tell him, look for the helpers. It's a message he repeated on 9/11. He came out of retirement to film PSAs for children. And in this situation, too, look for the helpers. They give you hope. 850 people were rescued. That's amazing.
It is amazing. You get me choked up. Eben Brown, thank you for your time today. We hope you come back and give us the latest as the story develops. We appreciate you.
Will do.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Fox News Radio national correspondent. Gosh, Mr. Rogers. Do we have a Mr. Rogers today? Not like in character, but who is the Mr. Rogers of this generation?
Maybe Russell Brand.
Thank you for adding to the moment.
I can't think of anybody. I'm trying to think of somebody who's fully bipartisan. Everybody like Dolly Parton,
maybe
somebody like that.
Yeah, when Evelyn, my 9-year-old, she used to go to the YMCA daycare when she was younger, and they signed all their kids up for her book program, and she'd get a book mailed to her every month, all paid for by Dolly Parton. It's pretty amazing. I don't know. Let us know who you think. Look for the helpers. We'll leave it there. Let's take a quick break.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Home Shield Foundation Repair, HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com. The uneven concrete surface in your driveway that you've been driving over, tripping over when you have your mom come over and she is walking. You're thinking like, oh my gosh, don't trip over that, because you know what comes after that, like hip replacements and stuff. Not good. It's a danger. It's an eyesore, but you probably don't invest that kind of money in just fixing something that's just an eyesore. It's when it becomes a bigger problem, especially if it's at your place of business. You cannot afford to not replace or to fix, if it's possible, that uneven concrete. Let me tell you the cost-effective way to handle this situation. It's to call Home Shield Foundation Repair. Home Shield Foundation Repair. Here's the number to call. 314-227-9636. 314-227-9636. One more time, 314-227-9636. They have a cost-effective way, incredibly cheaper than coming in and getting rid of all of that concrete and replacing it with brand new stuff. Oh my gosh, don't do that without calling Home Shield Foundation Repair. They're going to come out and look at your situation, and then they're going to tell you what they can do for you before they charge you a penny, so that you can feel confident that you've made the right choice. And if you've called Home Shield Foundation Repair, you've already made the right choice. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
Are you nearing retirement and don't know if you have enough money saved to retire? That is scary. Do you have a written retirement financial plan in place? Well, when it comes to retirement planning, the trusted team at Financial and Tax Architects are the best. They've helped people all over St. Louis retire with confidence. And that's what you want. You want to retire with confidence. Now, they offer a one-night, 2.5-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. They hold these at colleges over the St. Louis area and in Illinois. No cost, no obligation, just learning. And at this class, you learn how to avoid costly mistakes, how to maximize your income, how to reduce taxes in retirement. So call them today, 314-888-5101, or visit fta-ria.com and take the first step toward a smarter retirement. 314-888-5101.
If it's time for new windows, there's only one place to call. That is Window World. Mark Cox here. Call my friends at Window World at 314-993-1800 for your free estimate today. If you have any questions, they'll be glad to send someone out to explain all of it to you. You can even schedule right online at windowworldstl.com. You know, there's a lot of high-interest financing out there, but here's what Window World's doing. Right now, they're offering 18 up to 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. You can't beat that. You also get a lifetime warranty that covers all of the parts, the glass breakage, and labor. Who else stands behind their product like that? Over half the appointments Window World will set this year are from previous customers or referrals from those customers. That is a testimony to their customer service, their quality, and their commitment to creating loyal customers. That's what you get with Window World. Call them at 314-993-1800, windowworldstl.com.
You'll want to be listening in less than an hour, actually, at about 2:30 for a collective soul song to play. That would be your cue to call in. Be the 17th caller when that happens, and you will win 2 free tickets to see Collective Soul on July 17th. Right now, we're asking you your opinion on the YouTube live chat poll. Did Epstein kill himself and have no client list? That is the big question of the day. Let us know what you think, as many are on the YouTube live chat. It is 1:50. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This summer, while you stay cool, our first responders stay on the front lines. The St. Louis First Responder Canteen is there to keep them hydrated and supported. Find out how you can help by visiting 971talk.com/talkinaction.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
So you just mentioned the YouTube poll. The option this week, we found out Epstein did kill himself, which we kind of had heard already, and that there isn't a client list. The problem is that, you know, we played the Alina Habba clip a little bit earlier. She's like, the stuff you're going to see is wild.
Oh, yeah.
And that was from February. And then, I mean, we can. It's not like Alina Habba is the only person in this Trump administration who has seen what is to be seen because they're working with the administration. They have access to things. I just want the real facts. Whatever the real facts are, give them to me straight. I can handle whatever it might be. When Pam Bondi's in there as the Attorney General.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll check back with you.
Have you seen the list on your desk? Have you looked at it, or was there just like on the side of your desk a manila envelope that says Epstein client list and you just hadn't opened it yet? And by the way, if that were on my desk, I would, like they do in the movies, 2 hands, 2 arms, clear everything off my desk and be like, put this right here, get out of my office, come back when I tell you. That's a pretty bold, confident statement. Months later being like, there's no list.
It's the big problem with this story is that the messaging is a mess. Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, they have been very consistent. I will give that. If it was just them out there messaging on this, I'd say I think I got a pretty good idea of what they're doing. It's the DOJ that has come out with Pam Bondi and Alina Habba. I can't remember what her exact role is.
She's like a state's attorney or a district attorney, something like that. She's not.
She's not way high.
I mean, she was one of Donald Trump's lawyers when the prior administration was trying to put him in jail. Do you trust Kash Patel?
I do.
Do you trust Dan Bongino?
I do.
Do you trust Pam Bondi?
It's been a little rougher road there.
I don't feel like I don't trust her. I don't think she's up for the job. And since she was appointed, I was like, okay. I've never been like, Pam Bondi, yes. When RFK Jr. officially was appointed, I was like, that's how you do it. Kash Patel, kind of the same vibe. Marco Rubio, my fave, yes, please. And I felt that way every time he was appointed to something. Pam Bondi, if you say so, President Trump.
Yeah, that's the same for me because I didn't know that much about her as the AG of Florida. I just understood that she did a good job in Florida. So I said, okay, well, all right. Could Matt Gaetz have been the AG?
No. No.
I don't know what that would have looked like, but she isn't. She does press conferences, and she doesn't give me a real strong sense of confidence. That doesn't mean that she's not good at her job. It means that she's not great to me with press.
Governor Ron DeSantis is done with his second term as governor in Florida in 2026, and X last night was suggesting that maybe per the completion of his governorship and the midpoint of the Trump second term, that maybe there'd be a little switcheroo. And I was like, yeah. If I get Marco Rubio and if Marco Rubio is the Secretary of State and Ron DeSantis is the Attorney General and Donald Trump is the president, that is anti-fried trifecta.
You're the big winner here.
Yes, and all of you subsequently.
I would also add this name to the list. Anybody? Jeff Sessions. No takers.
You're the worst.
Did you drink too much this weekend? Did you hit the sugar hard? Did you?
No, I didn't. I wanted to really bad, though.
Did you eat sugar?
Did
you
not.
Eat added sugars?
I ate 0 added sugar all weekend. All weekend.
In my mind, you think added sugar is just when you go to the sugar bin and eat it with your spoon.
Yeah, it's like those jelly candies.
I completely cut that out of my weekend.
It's just boiling those down into sort of a paste and then pouring it down my throat.
You ever been to Planet Overstock?
Oh, yeah.
I know it.
Collinsville?
I went there yesterday.
Yeah.
Bought some things. It's basically an Overstock shop. Planet Overstock. Go there and tell him Annie sent you. I bought $50 worth of stuff.
That's easy to do.
And at the end of it, they handed me this big bag. And they're like, here, for spending $50, you get a free bag of candy. And it was all Peeps and jelly beans. I was like, give it to the next customer who's got a cute kid and wants some candy. We don't need this. But go to Planet Overstock and spend $50. They're not paying me to do this. In fact, I paid them. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Michael's Flooring Outlet. You find them online at igotfloored.com. Michael's has a ton of different flooring options for you. You're not going to miss out on the type of quality and options available to you as a shopper at Michael's. Your transformation of your home, you want to make sure that you're paying for quality. You do not want to spend the cheapest dollar that you can and get the cheapest product you can. You're way past that. Michael's understands how to implement value into great quality products, and they've been doing it in St. Louis as a family-owned and operated business for decades and decades, and we've been happy to partner with them here in 97.1 to make sure we connect the very best people of St. Louis to the flooring place of our choice. That's Michael's Flooring Outlet. The Techwood Plus line of hardwood floor appearance, the Mohawk Smart Strand line of carpeting, the different levels of padding that you can put in to give it an even more luxurious experience. Michael's Flooring Outlet is going to help you choose what's best for your home at a great value. Online at igotfloored.com.
When you have Rhino Shield on your house, it does a couple of things for you. It beautifies the house, and it protects it from the harshest elements. And boy, do we see those here in the greater St. Louis area. You get instant curb appeal. It will stick to anything. Rhino Shield is the answer, no matter whether you're painting a home or a church or a business or a condo, because it's 100% waterproof. It takes care of the outdoor maintenance on whatever is on the outside of your home. The brick, the block, aluminum, steel, stucco. They can put this on with the 2 to 3 coat process. They're there about a week, and they do a great job. A lot of businesses have done it in the area. Several Firestones have done that. Vantage Credit Union over the years, Harlan Packaging down in DeSoto. Call Darren today and schedule your free estimate. 877-25-RHINO, easy to remember phone number, or go online today at 877-25-RHINO.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
They're searching miles of debris on Lisa Brady. Fox News still hoping there may be survivors to Friday's deadly flash flooding in Texas.
I've seen the game wardens in particular on their hands and knees going underneath the downed trees, trying to see if they can find someone trapped under the debris. They've got the saws out, clearing the debris out of the way. They're working some 60 miles.
Fox's Mike Tobin in Kerrville.
You've also got the divers in the water here on the Guadalupe River. I've done that kind of work with search and rescue teams before. It's not very sophisticated. The water is muddy. You can't see anything. They just feel along with their hands, hoping to find someone.
Officials in 6 Texas counties confirming at least 89 people dead, with 10 children and a camp counselor among those still unaccounted for. The White House calls any notion that weather offices were understaffed or underprepared a depraved lie, rejecting claims that staffing cuts may have impacted flood warnings. Multiple countries will face higher tariffs from the U.S., though they won't kick in until August 1st.
U.S. trading partners are already finding out how much products from their countries will be taxed.
The president's phone, I can tell you, rings off the hook from world leaders all the time who are begging him to come to a deal.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says letters are going out to trading partners. President Trump is publishing several of those letters on social media, showing a 25% rate on goods from major trading partners, Japan and South Korea. So far, new trade deals have only been reached with the UK and Vietnam.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. Administration officials have stopped short of calling the August 1st date an extension of a 90-day pause that ends Wednesday. Defense officials say about 90 members of the California National Guard and some military vehicles are helping to protect immigration officers as they carry out a raid in LA's MacArthur Park, though an official also tells reporters it's not a military operation. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month, but what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit Pfizerforall.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Kind of a run-of-the-mill summertime weather pattern over the next couple of days. Nothing too extreme. Plenty of sunshine this afternoon. Maybe a spot storm. You probably noticed temperatures slightly cooler than yesterday. 89 for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy. 80s this evening. 72 for the low. Tuesday, sunny. Maybe a spot storm. 92. A couple of scattered thunderstorms around Wednesday, and 90. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show Live, sponsored by Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
America Party! That's the new party that Elon Musk is starting. Are you guys joining?
Well, I love a party, and no.
And scene. That's the YouTube short right there. Make it. Donald Trump seems to not really have a lot of patience or time for this. The right move here for Donald Trump is to be unbothered by what is going on. I'm going to talk about that a little bit here. Of course, we go to our favorite reporter, Harry Enton of CNN. He's got energy like none other.
This entire thing makes very little sense to me. It makes about as much sense as selling sand in the desert. What are we talking about here? What is the size of Elon Musk's base? Well, I calculate it to be about 4%, just 4%, 1, 2, 3, 4% of all voters. What is that base made up of? Well, it's those who view Elon Musk favorably and the GOP unfavorably. We're talking just about 4% of all voters out there, because it turns out most of the people who like Elon Musk already like the GOP already. That is, they already have a party for him. In my mind, there is just no base for Elon Musk's third party in the electorate, at least initially speaking.
All right, so let's hold my beer here for a second on 4D chess and go to 5D chess. What I think Harry Enton just said here is that the people who would support the America Party are people who like Elon Musk but do not like the Republican Party. If, in fact, that is the case, Elon Musk's America Party divides which side of the aisle?
Ooh, the Democrat Party.
Or what's left of it after the aggressive progressives are running socialists in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Is anybody in the Republican? Are there people in the voting Republican Party right now that are like, gosh, I don't know this Trump guy. I just don't know if he's got it. Nobody. Zero. None. No. Nuh-uh. Now, as Harry Enton counts on one hand, literally, the percentage of voters who support Elon Musk, and it's just 4%. How much could 4% severed off of a Democrat in a race where there might be a moderate work to favor Donald Trump? I don't think that this is a lot of time spent for something like this. Who does it pull away from? I don't think Trump is losing people. I don't think there's anybody who is MAGA who's in the Republican Party looking to vote for, or who have gone to vote for Donald Trump, always supported Donald Trump, reluctantly voted against Kamala Harris in the last election, and voted for Donald Trump knowing what he promised he would do. Who is saying, I just can't believe this guy.
I also just don't get the angle because, hey, maybe if it's 5D chess, okay, then he's outplaying me. But he also has more money than me. But if he's doing this because and the way he's branding it is, this is the middle. This is the 80% of the middle of the country. It's not the extremes. This is the...
Who's branding it?
Elon Musk. Middle 80%. That's ridiculous, but that's what he's saying. But then he's trying to elect such incredible fiscal conservatives that they're like right of Thomas Massey.
Well, one of the leaders of America Party is supposed to be like Pence.
Yeah.
That's not his. He's a social issues guy.
Yes, he's not even.
And he's like a purist
on social issues,
which is the part of the Republican Party that could potentially be on life support. No pun intended. The pro-life people are in the Republican Party tent. You can't be pro-life and be pro-Democrat.
Yeah,
you just can't.
There's no way.
The pro-life people are in the Republican camp. But so are there are a lot of pro-choice people, anti-abortion, pro-choice. It's a distinction they make that I think is hypocritical, but that's a personal choice. But I'm always going to be in favor of a pro-choice voter prioritizing economic common sense and stability, safety and security and law and order. I'm not going to bash them up in the face because they agree with me on everything but life when it comes to voting. What I'd like to do is have a common understanding conversation about, I appreciate your common sense on these things. Here's why I'm pro-life. And then if they're like, well, here's why I'm pro-choice, then we've had the conversation, we move on. But Elon Musk, he's not dumb. And I'll go back to what I said in the beginning of the show. He's emotional. And he seems to make emotional public communications decisions. So what does it cost him to throw something out there like this, to have this discussion, to suggest that he's going to really go up against Trump? Can he really, can you believe the things he was saying during the campaign? Can you believe the money he was spending during the campaign? And at the same time think, oh, I totally believe now he hates Donald Trump. He's either emotionally unstable or super smart, smarter than we all are. What does he have to lose? Well, today it's 7% on Tesla stock, which has dropped to $293 a share. And it was, I don't know, I could look here actually. It has been over 360 in the, let's see, 5 days. It was 321 is the high in the last 5 days. In the last month, it was at 348. So it's down to 293. People are either reacting because they don't like him, or how many people emotionally bought his stock who are emotionally selling his stock right now? Or how many people are like, this guy is not focused on his business?
Yeah, I don't know that he's not focused on it, but it's definitely, he has put politics front and center instead of his businesses, and that's a decision. There are aspects of this thing of the America Party that I do like. I don't like that he's starting a new party.
What are the aspects that you like?
The fact that he's focused on pure fiscal responsibility. If that's going to be your role, Elon Musk, great. own that lane. The problem is he already got out of that lane when he's like, Trump's in the Epstein files and all that stuff. He had that lane, and he could have been the voice in America, probably primarily in the GOP, that really yelled it loud and had a lot of money to support it. He can still play that role, but he's got to stay in that lane.
Here's Andrew Schultz talking about Elon Musk, and I this is where I kind of pull from the emotional sensitivity of Elon Musk, and I think it's really important to just observe, just keep your eyes open to how Donald Trump is handling this, because Elon Musk is like a teenager that needs to be attended to. And they've tried to do certain things and it hasn't worked. So they go like, you could have positive consequences and you could have negative consequences, but both of those things equate attention. And if you're emotionally driven individual, attention is what you see.
Elon having a hissy fit because he didn't get his way. And I think what Elon thought was, I think Elon thought Trump is kind of dumb and he could do whatever he wanted with him. And I think he learned that that's not the case. Like, Trump is just kind of going to do what he wants to do. Now, you can convince him of things, but you can't tell him to do something.
Bro, Trump didn't even jump off the ledge with Elon. He never went crazy at all. I'm like,
because and say whatever you want about him. He knows if you're soft. Like Trump, like this is the thing. Like Trump has dealt with like real people.
That is such an important note. Now, Andrew Schultz, what kind of politics does he have?
I don't know. He comes out with some interesting statements like that, though.
Do you know his politics, Brad?
He historically has been left-leaning, but like moderately left, not super left.
Not like cultish religious left.
Right.
To me, he seems like a person who observes things in real time and is willing to react on the things that are actually happening. Not, I have my rip and read talking points so ingrained in my head that it doesn't matter what's happening in the world. The details don't matter. All you need to know at the end is that Trump is evil. That doesn't mean these people love this guy. But the other guy talking there is Charlemagne. He's had a lot of criticisms for the Republican Party. He's no Republican himself, but he continues to back the methods of Donald Trump and explain he's an effective guy. And when you hear Andrew Schultz saying, you know, Donald Trump has worked with real people. It is such a contrast to what we normally see with people who are in these political positions. Who outside of Donald Trump in our lifetime has existed in the world that we exist in? Now, do we exist in the same world that Donald Trump does? Not necessarily, but at the same time, very much so, yes. The real world, not the political bureaucratic world where, you know, you get to Washington, D.C., and there are just a way that things happen to go. And once you get there and you're so excited and you're going to make a difference and you're going to bring change to Washington, D.C., put your fists up and get ready to fight, and all of the people who are there before you sit you down and say, here's how this is going to go. Donald Trump, the orange Kool-Aid man, runs into the room and leaves a Donald Trump-size shape in the wall to make sure that everybody remembers that he is there, he was there, and he'll be back. And he can get into that room whenever he wants. He's unafraid to do it. But that's the type of stuff he's always done. And you hear all of these stories. I go back to our conversation a little bit earlier in the show from Wiggins America while you were talking about Ozzy Osbourne. You've got the Osbournes sitting on this YouTube video that just came across my algorithm this weekend, and they're all sitting around lamenting how great Donald Trump is. They weren't like, you could tell by virtue of having the conversation and publicly being on the record to be like, he's a really great guy. Sharon Osbourne was talking about how her 2 kids were trying to get sober, and how not President Trump, but then Donald Trump would like check in on them. And he cared very much. And he was very encouraging about their sobriety and you know, talking to Sharon about it. Sharon was on The Apprentice. They did not have to have that conversation. So when Kelly Osbourne comes out and she's like, I really lament the fact that I have to say this, but he's been nothing but kind and amazing in my experience. I mean, the only reason why they have a hesitation to say that is because they're fearful of a public backlash. But newsflash, the public in the majority goes, we'll take Trump. And the public understands that he knows how to make things happen. And even if you hate every single thing that he's done so far in this second term, he has gotten stuff done. Other than the big beautiful bill didn't cut spending enough, What is Elon Musk's problem?
Elon Musk's problem apparently stems from the appointment of the head of NASA or something like that.
He wanted Trump to appoint his buddy,
Yep.
who was a Democrat donor, never donated to a Republican in his life. That's something that President Trump said. I don't think that's the impetus for the entirety of it, but it's also part of it.
Mm-hmm. And I really think Trump did the right thing there.
Exactly. And Donald Trump said, I don't know that it's exactly appropriate to have the head of NASA be one of Elon Musk's good buddies, somebody who is obviously supportive of the other political side, knowing that SpaceX has an incredibly important financial relationship with NASA. That just doesn't seem right. So Donald Trump told his buddy no to appointing one of his buddies. I got Trump in this one, too.
I did from the time he did it, and he's come out recently and said why he did it, which is he said, yeah, exactly what you just said. There's a lot of contracts going back and forth here. I didn't want to have the appearance of impropriety or the possibility of actual impropriety of favorable contracts. America first. And so I didn't hire the guy.
Well, we want to know, of all of these things, the question is Elon Musk, is he playing a game here? I really don't think he is, but listening to Harry Ensign be like, only 4% of voters want to be with the America Party, and guess where the 4% comes from? It's not from It's not from Trump voting Republicans. I mean, even if the intention isn't it could still maybe work out. Maybe work out for the best of us. Did Epstein kill himself and have no client list? Yes. No, the Trump administration is playing chess, kind of like we think that we suggested that maybe they're doing with the Elon Musk stuff. Or no, Trump administration is messing this up. Go vote in the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll and keep it here because Ryan's going to be like a little Santa Claus here soon. Give away some stuff to a lucky listener. So keep it here on the Annie Fry Show. Ethan's back, right? Ethan's coming in next.
Yeah.
To provide us some local news, which we still have not settled on a name for the segment yet. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Home Shield Foundation Repair with an S, repairs.com. HomeShieldFoundationRepairs.com, a local family-owned business. I met with Matt and his beautiful wife last week. We were sitting down talking about mostly like the fact that they have 4 kids. We have so much in common. These are great people. I know that at the end of the day, you're like, but can they level the concrete that's on my pool deck that's causing people to stub their bare feet toes when they're trying to enjoy the pool weather? Yes, they can. And I might add, they are the best at it. A cost-effective way to level out that concrete. You've kind of avoided it because you're like wincing at the thought of how much that might end up setting you back. If you've looked into like replacing the concrete, I can understand why you might think that. 314-227-9636. 314-227-9636. These great people right here, family-owned and operated, like I said, can help you make sure that your driveway, sidewalks, walkways, your garage floors, your patios, your pool decks, even commercial and industrial spaces are, in fact, level. And they have a great, innovative way to make that happen. It comes with a 5-year warranty. Call them at 314-227-9636 and make sure you drop the name Annie in there when you do. HomeShieldFoundationRepairs.com.
The number one fear of adults in retirement remains, will I outlive my money? The team at Ricken Financial want to help calm those fears with a complimentary income plan. This includes a deep dive into your retirement strategy to see what's working and where adjustments can be made. Call today for an initial no-cost income plan. 314-207-6211. That's 314-207-6211 or online at rickenfinancial.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor.
Rolling hot dogs 2 for $5 on a fluffy bun. All beef hot dogs rolling in. Hurry, cause they're on the run. Pick your toppings anyway. Roll into this deal. Pick your 2, big Q2. Rollin' makes a meal. Mustard relish, sauerkraut. Ain't no need to scream and shout. Get 2 all beef hot dogs and a big Q for $5. Only at QT. More than a gas station.
Speeding while driving gives you less time to react. Another car could turn out in front of you. A pedestrian could be walking their dog. Follow the speed limit to keep them safe. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
I got some money in my pocket, got some trouble on my tail. I can hear the doors knocking, guess I'm heading off the rails.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Hold up! Check it out.
Sports and local.
And now, Irfin's Blurfs.
Irfin's Blurfs?
Yeah.
The hell is that?
Doesn't matter.
You gonna write that down?
I think you're about to tell us, Irfin.
Yeah, Irfin.
God.
Little Irfin.
It's
Annie.
really hard to work with you sometimes, Ryan Wiggins. Let's see. Sports and local.
Mm-hmm.
We're excited you're back because we had to do this segment last
Yeah,
week.
we hated it.
Hated it?
Irfin's Blurfs.
Blurfs. How do you, I'm not even going to ask how to spell that.
Did you come up with that yourself, Ryan?
I did.
Oh. You proud of
No
yourself?
listener out there is dumb enough to come up with that name. Not one.
True. That's true.
So I know that there's been a lot of discussion as of late about the big, beautiful bill. I'm not going to lie. It was nice to take a break from politics the last few days.
Yeah.
Because
You didn't go to Seattle and just ask people about the BBB all the time?
You know, I'll say this quickly. Seattle was not at all what I thought it'd be. I thought it was going to be just like kind of what you hear about like hardcore left-leaning cities.
Yeah.
It was an awesome city.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Seattle. Beautiful, right on the water, mountains everywhere in the distance, all around the city. Pretty clean, at least where we are in the heavy tourist areas. Really enjoyed Seattle, so highly recommend.
Did you get into any protesting?
I saw one person at a 4th of July parade holding a sign that said fascist, and it was a picture of Trump next to Hitler. That is all that I saw. In fact,
4th of July parade?
So get this. This is actually funny. We took the ferry to this small little island called Bainbridge Island one of the days, and tiny little town. And there, when we first get there, there's no one there. We walk farther along the town, along their main road, and all of a sudden, there's probably at least several thousand people for this little 4th of July parade. And it gave me hardcore small-town USA vibes. Everyone's waving their flags. I was like, this is really cool, and I did not expect...
You went to Seattle and ran into a pro-America parade?
Now, this was across the lake.
Maybe it's you.
But it was close.
Island.
It was a little island.
Maybe it was you.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is definitely where all the Republicans live. There's no way. There's no way.
Did you go to the Chaz?
What does that mean?
No, don't.
You do your thing, Irfin.
The answer is no.
The ballpark was great too. T-Mobile Ballpark, really cool where the Mariners play.
Do you buy a hat when you go to it? Do you buy one of their hats? I saw
Not
you wearing a Seattle
everywhere,
Mariners
but
hat.
I did buy a Mariners hat
I
because
thought maybe after the weekend with the Cubs, you were like, "I'll try this out."
I picked the perfect week to be gone. I'll tell you that much. It wasn't pretty for the Cards this week, but no, not ever. I try to get something. I get a lapel pin from every ballpark that I go to, so
We
I got
buy mini
one of
bats.
those. Mini bats.
And we have them lined up in our basement.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun. Yeah, so no, I really enjoyed Seattle. Anyway, going back to politics, speaking of, that big old beautiful bill, I saw an article that was breaking down how St. Louis area lawmakers voted on it, and I thought when I looked at the headline, I was like, oh, that could be fun, like see who went in which direction, and it's about as underwhelming as it possibly could be. If you have an R by your name, you voted yes. If you have a D by your name, you voted no. Ann Wagner, Bob Onder, Sam Graves, Jason Smith, Mike Bost, and Mary Miller as far as
you might not know this, but Mike Bost voted yes for the big, beautiful bill live on the Annie Fry Show.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah. He was on the phone with us, and he's like, okay, I'm going to walk up here, and I'm going to vote yes. All right, I voted yes. He did that right here on the show.
Oh, my gosh, that is so cool.
Rewind on the Odyssey app, Irfin.
Or just go to the podcasts.
As far as no's in the house, Wesley Bell and...
I tried to do that to your name, and I don't know how to do it.
Rern.
You can't.
I know.
Rern.
I don't even care how this
I had a
segment goes.
really good joke teed up there, and it just fizzled in my brain.
Yeah, I've done that before.
You've done that not in your brain.
Probably done that in this
on
segment.
The air.
Nikki Baczynski also voted no. Josh Hawley and Eric Schmidt were yeses, and Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth were both no's. So that's about it. Keeping it as simple as possible. Like I said, all the R's voted yes, all the D's voted no. Obviously, there has been a lot of tragedy this past weekend in Texas with the flooding, and I know we've been covering that here on the Annie Fry Show in 97.1. And it extends a little bit here to the Missouri area as well. Not entirely St. Louis, but a member of the Hunt family who owns the Kansas City Chiefs passed away. Unfortunately, was attending, I believe, one of the camps. The wife of Kansas City Chiefs CEO Clark Hunt, Tavia Hunt, posted on Instagram and announced that one of the young cousins of the family had passed away. Quoted saying, "Our hearts are broken by the devastation from the floods in Wimberley and the tragic loss of so many lives, including a precious little Hunt cousin, along with several friends as little girls." So extremely sad as the death toll now has surpassed 80.
Ethan, were you a church camp kid?
Not until I did like FCA camp in high school, but never like church camp.
Is that
really growing
overnight?
up. Yes.
How long?
Weekend, usually a weekend. So
You
like
would
a Friday to Sunday.
Ethan, you are the perfect camp counselor.
I don't know what that means.
You'd have been great.
He was great. He said he did it.
Well, I did it in early college, and I had a lot of fun with it. It was really cool.
Ryan,
but I didn't like growing. I didn't growing up or anything.
Ryan, were you a church camp kid?
I did one church camp weekend once. That's it.
Good memories?
Yeah, it was fun. I just didn't. I wasn't really that plugged into youth group when I was a kid. I was more friends with kids who were, so I would go do stuff with them.
What about you, Brad?
Camp counselor. I never was a kid in church camp. Had a lot of fun doing that.
I went to a church camp called Camp Piasaw at Pierre Marquette. A couple times we would go to Camp Owatoga, and it's up in Pierre Marquette. Beautiful, beautiful area to camp. Just publicly want to call out the people who are making the decisions on preserving these areas. I don't know who it is. Is it state parks, state government? Is it federal government? But that camp had to stop because they have not cared for this camp location in Pierre Marquette. Like I said, Camp Piasaw and Camp Owatoga. But
I had never even heard of them.
Here's the most frustrating part about it. So frustrating. The people. So this summer camp, it was a Lutheran summer camp. It was a week long. You'd start on Sunday, and I think you got picked up on Friday. Overnight, you stay in a cabin up at the top of the bluffs in Pierre Marquette. The cabin has one light that is very industrial looking in it. No electricity. You sleep on a metal cot with a plastic mattress, and you bring a sleeping bag and some bedding, whatever you choose.
Wait, it had a light, but no electricity
no
outside
additional
of the light?
electricity.
Okay.
Yeah, like it wasn't like, I mean, this is roughing it.
Okay.
Like bugs, wildlife, all of it. It's roughing it. And you're gone for a week. There's no AC to take in. Water fights at any given time are plentiful. So you could be eating in the mess hall, and all of a sudden a water fight could absolutely break out. We would do things like so the JCs were the junior counselors, and they were high school students. The campers, they'd have a 5th and 6th grade week, and then a 7th and 8th grade week. And there was, I don't think for the 5th and 6th graders, but for the 7th and 8th graders, on Thursday night, the last night of camp, there was a dance, and there'd be a theme to the dance. And every night we would end the evening with singing, if I don't know why we called it that, but there's just like all of these really silly, goofy things that are part of it that are essentially become inside jokes, that you create a community of people who understand this reality that is yours for a week, and you understand it together with people. And it was a Lutheran summer camp, so there was Bible study every day. You pray before you eat. There is an understanding that the first and foremost thing should be that Christian foundation that is the purpose of coming together and just spending a week together.
And this was in Pierre Marquette?
Yes.
It's really cool.
Yes. And every night you'd end with singing camp songs, but there are a lot of praise songs that would be involved in, but also just like the super silliest songs that you could possibly think of, that if I shared them, you'd be like, really? You sang that? Guitars, I would play guitar and lead when I was there as a counselor, along with like 3 or 4 other people. So just a bunch of acoustic guitars, fans blowing because it's so hot and sweaty, and it's just great. You can't explain it. You can't like take somebody out in like the real world and insert them into this and have it make sense. So I was a camper when I was a kid. I was a JC when I was in high school. I was a counselor with my husband, brought my husband into it. And then the camp, it's just so run down that they don't have the camp anymore. And I know that our group has specifically been like, we will bring the funds and the manpower. We will re-roof the cabins. We will reestablish all of these areas. And they say, nope, you can't come in.
It's really sad.
You're not allowed to come in. And I think there's some union stuff. There's some state stuff that's involved. They won't accept the outside help to restore this place. And I know that I've talked to there's a listener to the show. I hope I get a message from her. When I was in Jersey County at the Lincoln Day Dinner, she came up and was talking to me about how they were connected to Camp Pius. So I think she was the person who booked people for the camp. And just how frustrated she was that people wanted so bad to restore this place, and the system says no.
The system is partially the state because it's a state park.
I understand it's that. Maybe I'm wrong. Somebody correct me and tell me how we can fix this place. They were going to get a gathering together of like a reunion for a day. They got a huge pool up there. It might be an Olympic-sized pool up at the very top of the bluffs. The stars. I've never seen stars like I've seen there.
I didn't even know that was there.
Yeah, it's
cool.
amazing.
What you mentioned, I would be perfect for like camp. What kind of personalities did you like kind of go along with camp counselors?
You were a resident assistant. You were an RA.
Uh-huh.
So you understand supervision.
Mm-hmm.
But you also understand how to supervise people and encourage them to choose the right decision instead of being a pain in your butt.
Got it.
I, too, was an RA at SIUE. You have to be fun. You have to bring the party, but also with the essence of
not being a killjoy.
We've got some rules to follow, so
Right.
don't be a pain in my butt. Just follow the rules.
Right. No,
and
I'm
then
with
we'll
you.
be fine.
Well, thank you for the compliment.
You bet. Ryan, on the other hand, would be a total disaster.
Did you guys have a camp song?
Yeah, we got a ton of camp songs.
Did you?
Yeah.
Do you remember any of them?
Yes.
Can you sing any of them now?
When we come back, I'll play one for you.
Are you
Ooh,
on?
okay, because I've got one too.
I have one that my daughter, Jensen, she's going to kill me, by the way. You're going to want to stick around for this. Not you, Jensen. You go somewhere else. It's a song called Sippin' Cider.
All right.
And she sang it. She was singing it to me when she was a little girl. And it's the cutest thing ever. So I'll play it when we come back.
Okay.
She is going to kill me. I love you, Jensen. Don't go away.
So bartender, take my keys. What do you want?
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
The Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com. Thomas Helbig and Bob and Tammy Kershaw. Boy, you are in the right hands when you work with them. If you're nearing retirement and wondering how long your money is going to last, the Retirement Advisory Group can help answer that question for you. If you're worried about losing your nest egg in the next market correction, the Retirement Advisory Group can help you answer that question and protect you. Let them help you build your own personalized, structured income plan. It all starts with this phone call to set up a free conversation with them. Then at the end, you can be like, nah, it's not my cup of tea, or, oh my gosh, let me sign up right now. Your choice. But you get to have that free conversation first. 314-993-9494. 314-993-9494. Call the Retirement Advisory Group and tell them I sent you and that you'd like to sit down and have that conversation about how to protect your retirement so that you can have a worry-free retirement. RetirementKey.com.
Hey, what's up, flies? This is David Spade.
Dana Carvey.
Look, I know we never actually left, but I'll just say it. We are back with another season of Fly on the Wall.
Every episode, including ones with guests, will now be on video. Every Thursday, you'll hear us and see us chatting with big-name celebrities.
And every Monday, you're stuck with just me and Dana. We react to news, what's trending, viral clips.
Follow and listen to Fly on the Wall everywhere you get your podcasts.
I'm fixing to tell you something that the insurance industry does not want you to ever hear. Bullies often delay and deny. I see them sitting on premiums paid and making money and dragging it out for as long as they can. Many times, we're forced to take them to court. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Their high-paid lobbyists are on a mission to make sure that at trial, jurors are not allowed to learn that the at-fault party has insurance, and in some cases, lots of it. I can think of no case in all my years where there was no insurance for the at-fault party. So let's fight back. It's all these bullies understand. Tell everybody you know the truth. If you've been injured in a car crash or hurt at a store or business, visit forthepeople.com. We're here 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
That is the collective soul song you were waiting for. So be the 17th caller right now, 314-241-9797, 314-241-9797, and you will win a pair of tickets to see Collective Soul on July 17th, just in a couple weeks, at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater one more time. And you can call multiple times if you get through. You can keep calling, try to be the 17th. 314-241-9797.
You got to do time check too, Ryan.
2:37. This time check brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
You said that you had camp songs. What camp?
Anawana.
Where's that?
I think I don't remember exactly where that's at.
Sounds made up to me.
The song went like this: we run, we jump, we swim and play, we row and go on trips, but the thing that lasts forever.
Is this from Dirty Dancing?
Are our dear friendships.
Oh.
Camp Anawana, we hold you in our hearts. It was on Nickelodeon. It's not real if you're not grabbed that yet.
I'm unfamiliar.
Okay. It was a show.
Have you ever heard the song Sippin' Cider?
Nope.
The prettiest girl I ever saw.
Nope.
Okay. Well, is it too self-indulgent to play this video of maybe let's see, she's probably 18. Well, probably not quite 2-year-old Jensen singing Sippin' Cider?
Oh, no.
We don't have to play the whole thing. But it is worth. So if you're,
oh my gosh, she's so little.
If you're watching on YouTube, this is me with brown hair in our old house in Hamel, Illinois, and so she served as the kids of the counselors. So kids who were not old enough to be or the right age to be campers, not JCs, which are the high schools. They were called camp brats, and so she had been a camp brat up there.
This girl
They say Pedro.
I ever saw was sipping cider through a straw. The prettiest girl I ever saw was sipping cider through a straw.
That's cute,
Said
right?
I to her, what you doing that for?
What is down that for?
I was sipping cider through a straw. Said I to her, what you doing that for?
What you doing that for?
A sipping cider through a straw.
There's like 4 more versions.
Wow. That's super cute. And I am not
Said
moved
she
by
to
such
me.
things.
She'll show you.
I love that she like conjugated the words. Said she to me. Said she to you. Thanks.
Don't you know?
I show you that you know.
A sipping cider's all the go.
I did go.
Said she to me, why don't
You ever notice how little kids are kind of like drunk people?
A sipping cider's all the go.
It's cute.
What's that song about?
It's about a couple that meets sipping cider.
They're having a drink.
And then they get together.
So cheek to cheek.
So now they're dating.
And jaw to jaw. We're sipping cider through a straw. So cheek to cheek and jaw to jaw. We're sipping cider through a straw.
I think I know her favorite part.
Then all at once that straw had slipped and I sipped cider through her lips.
Oh,
That's
it
how
gets
I
all
got
nasty.
my mother-in-law.
Oh,
Sipping cider through a straw.
that is uncalled for.
You got to teach them young. At church camp.
I mean, you got to have, you got to perpetuate the human race,
Yeah, I got 4.
Got to start with a drink here and there.
Do you ever go back and look at videos of your kids? Does it make you happy or really sad?
Both.
At the same time.
It does, because, man, when we had our first babies, it was
Twins?
tough.
Your first were twins.
It was twins, and when I watch a video like that, I'm taken back to that moment, and I'm thinking, oh, man, that was hard, but I wish that I was able to enjoy it.
There's no way to, though.
You just can't.
With any first that you have, any first kid that you have, I think the most interesting thing, and I'll say this as somebody who has 4 kids, where my son in 2021 would have been like almost 12, 11 and a half. That's a pretty big age difference. So by the time my 4th kid was born, I had 11 and a half years of experience of being a parent. Over those 11 years, I've spent all of that time moving from these are all the ways that you're supposed to be a parent. These are all of the things you're supposed to do. These are all the expectations that people have to, I got this. Everybody back off. Like Jaron and I feel very comfortable in the decisions we make as parents, even the tough decisions. What we feel comfortable with is trusting our gut. To say, ultimately, in our family specifically, maybe in yours if you're listening right now, what is the foundation you build your family on? For us, it's our faith. It's our Christian faith. So when you learn to trust that foundation and understand that you are going to make decisions that make people upset, sometimes even within your own family, or you're going to make decisions about things, raising kids, that other people would do differently, or that disappoint other people, you have to have those decisions rooted in something other than what the world thinks, because that shifts and changes all of the time. Pinterest, I don't know how much your wife paid attention to, like, there were like mommy wars in the time that she would have been a mom, and the time that the idea of staying at home and raising your kids, going to work, can you have it all? And then blogging became a big thing. So everybody's writing blogs about how moms should be. So we were oversaturated with opinions. And as soon as you realize their opinion doesn't matter because they're not raising my children, the only opinions that really truly matter are the people who are responsible for raising these little lives, and the fact that those decisions that you make are going to be rooted in something bigger and more important than yourself. Then the shackles kind of come off, and it's way less stressful to just make choices, make decisions, because you feel like you have a true north. But when you first have a kid, I kind of chuckle. I haven't been to a baby shower in a long time, but I kind of chuckle going to baby showers, especially when the moms are young, because, boy, I remember sitting there. I was 25 when I had Charlie, 23 when we were married, 25 when I had Charlie, and there's a thing for everything. When Molly was born, I had a baby shower, but I threw it for myself, and I signed up and I registered on Target.com for diapers and formula. And I don't know if there was really anything. I might have bought a diaper bag or something. And I made the baby shower list private and did not tell anyone about it. And I got a 10% off coupon on everything that was on my list that didn't get bought. So I bought it all for myself. Mm-hmm. And then we had one day, the boxes were stacked so high on the front porch because they were diapers. I didn't buy diapers for Molly. It took well over a year before we had to buy diapers because I just bought them all at 10% off. That's mom smart stuff right there.
That's 4th kid stuff.
That is totally 4th. And you know what? I was so excited. That was no offense to anybody who ever threw me a baby shower or a shower. That was the best baby shower I was ever at, because I was sitting pregnant in my living room in my probably favorite PJs, and my kids were opening up the boxes of things that we bought, and it was really exciting because all the boxes looked the same, so we didn't know what was going to be in them. Is it diapers or is it a diaper bag? Might be Desitin. You don't know until you open it, but you knew you were going to use everything, and you got 10% off.
I'm going to pull this comment up from Kate. I can so relate. I guess that's why we all want grandkids, so we can enjoy.
Yeah, that's real. Oh, that's going to segue me into the next segment.
I forget about that. We're still so much in kid mode that I forget. Oh, someday we could be grandparents.
Yeah, you'll come up for air at some point and go, oh, wait a second. What's next?
That's how I got my mother-in-law.
Now my one
A sipping cider through a straw. That's how I got my mother-in-law. A sipping cider through a straw. Now 16 kids. All call me Pa. A sipping cider through a straw. Now 16 kids all call me Pa.
Now 16 kids call me Pa.
A sipping cider through a straw.
This is The Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
CiviaLaw.com. Let's talk about life transitions. We kind of are. When life comes and throws a curveball, sometimes those curveballs are really exciting. Maybe you're in a second marriage. You didn't have kids in the first, your second marriage, and all of a sudden you have a kid. Boy, landscape sure changes, doesn't it? You want to make sure that you have somebody guiding you through the preservation of everything that you've built up to that point and how you're going to preserve those things after the fact of the next life transition, sickness, death of a loved one. You've got property, you've got assets, you want to protect it. You want to make sure that you have made these decisions when life isn't moving 8 million miles an hour and you've got all of this obvious emotion invested in that point in time. Invest in yourself and call this number and do it right now, because the first 10 people to call Civia Law right now are going to get their strategy session free. 10 people who call 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL. The first 10 are going to be able to sit down and have that conversation about establishing a trust, taking care of your dependents. Boy, this is really, really important. This session costs you nothing. If you hurry up and make that phone call and go to the place that I trusted, my husband and I trusted with our trust, Civia Law in Missouri and Illinois, online at civialaw.com.
Attention, small business owners. Do you need funding for your business? At lendseek.com, we provide revenue-based working capital programs from $20,000 to $1 million. So whether it's funding for inventory, equipment, expansion, payroll, or other needs, seek no more. All it takes is just one simple application to access over 100 funding products that are powered through our breakthrough AI-enabled lending platform to get you the best options in today's marketplace. If you've been in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of at least $50,000, you could receive the business funding you need when it matters most, regardless of your personal credit score. Funds in your account in just 24 hours with no collateral, no prepayment penalties, and no restrictions on how you use the funds. There's no obligation and zero out-of-pocket costs. So apply for the business funding you need today at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Good afternoon, Mark Reardon getting set to go here on a Monday. I would say it's a sad Monday, the very latest on the flooding in Texas. Also at 3:18, Congresswoman Ann Wagner joins us. It's all coming up after Fox News at 3.
This is The Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. This is kind of a longer conversation that we might extend into another day, but there have been reports, and I just saw another one recently. Let's see here. Is this Fox Business? That one's kind of old. People are questioning boomers' willingness to babysit their grandkids. Have you seen these stories being cycled about?
No.
You have, Brad?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
There's a suggestion that the boomer generation is really just not interested in participating in the lives of their grandkids. So in the middle of all of that, you have to ask, are the millennials, probably some Gen Z millennials, are they asking and expecting too much from the boomer generation? When I talk about moving into a house, I want to build a house. That's what we've talked about that. When I've talked about that, my response is always that my family is in Illinois, that my children are within 10 minutes time to go see grandma and grandpa, to spend time with grandma and grandpa, and of course also for grandma and grandpa to see their grandchildren. My kids have amazing close relationships with all four of their living and very active grandparents. Can somebody put a price on that in this day and age? Can you put a price? Can you property tax me out of being like, well, that's just not that important?
Ooh, I don't know. That's a good question, because I think I don't want to know the answer to that question, because they probably could. If they wanted to bad enough, they could probably property tax me out of the state.
Oh, wait, and take your kids away from their grandparents.
I don't know. We'd have to figure it out, because we'd have to move close enough that we wouldn't be far from them. But I think they're in the same boat, where if you started raising property taxes that much, they would also want to move.
And now, to add on to the point of me not wanting to actually move out of Illinois, both sides of my family, my husband's side and my side, have generational farms that they live on. Mm-hmm. They actually live on the farms. It's not like, oh, down the street there's a land that belongs to the family and we don't want to leave it. It's not that. It's they live on it. Some people have to stay and fight, and I guess that just has to be people like me, because I've gotten a ton of messages from folks out there, maybe like you listening right now, who are like, thank you for just saying that. Thank you for saying that, like, Illinois is your home and that the government structure around it absolutely sucks, but that you're not going to just, that something is more important than that. But there is a report out there I'm trying to look for. I know I replied to something, I think it was Cernovich who tweeted it, but was talking about how grandparents are less invested in their grandchildren than before. I just think that's incredibly sad. I don't know. You guys have opinions on that?
Well, yeah, if that's true, I have not experienced that at all, though. I mean, our grandparents, in fact, on my side, my parents very involved. On my wife's side, she moved closer to us to be closer to the grandkids. So.
Mm-hmm. The person said that retweeted it said, I have several friends whose parents basically take no interest in their children. That's when wild. They are asked to babysit, they just complain about how much they have to do and how it's interfering in their life.
That's wild.
I can't
All
wait
of these
to
people
be
are in their
that
60s. Yeah, I know. I want my kids to know that, like, grandma will take them.
Yeah, anytime.
Send them over.
Yeah. My parents put in a pool, and they broke ground on it, I think the same weekend as my wedding. And my parents were like, just so you know, this is for the grandkids. I'm like, okay, sounds good. And boy, every weekend for sure, but throughout the week, of course, that pool is full of grandkids.
That's great.
And my dad just sits there. My mom does too, of course, but he just sits there and beams. My dad, I've told you about how my dad likes to count things. My dad's always counting the people in the pool. How many people we got in the pool? He just wants to know the number.
Oh, record high. All right.
Yeah.
Today's YouTube live chat poll. Did Epstein kill himself?
Transitioning into this real quick.
Yeah, let's go. We gotta hurry.
And have no client list. 213 votes. 16% say yes. 59% say no. Trump admin is playing chess. And 25% say no. Trump admin is messing up.
58% think the Trump admin is playing chess. Well, we shall see, and we'll cover it here, of course. The latest on the news in Texas. Pray for these people. Lord have mercy. Mark Reardon Show next.
Step outside and fall in love with your backyard again. From inviting porch overhangs to durable composite decks and cozy screen rooms, Lakeside Renovation and Design creates stunning outdoor living spaces designed for relaxation, entertaining, and making memories. With expert craftsmanship and top-quality materials, your new outdoor oasis will be perfect for every season. Call Lakeside Renovation and Design today or visit lakesiderd.com to get started. Let's turn your backyard into the retreat you've always dreamed of.
Mark Cox here. Let me introduce you to my friends at the Lit Cigar Lounge in St. Louis, where luxury meets comfort. Premium hand-rolled cigars, an extensive selection of rare bourbons and whiskeys and craft cocktails. It's comfortable for non-smokers, too. They have a state-of-the-art ventilation system. They have private lockers and live music every Friday night, perfect for date nights or business meetings or just winding down. Visit litstl.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience.